with them. We're going to start to begin with Give Nourishment.
What? We just went live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Please join in. It's Giving Tuesday. Be blessed. We just played the theme song. Somebody forgot to hit go.
I did.
Yes, so it's all right. So, Giving Tuesday is a gracious way to give money, give kindness. I know that people on the radio just heard us talking about that. But, there is something to be said with providing for others and helping others out. We just played the theme song there that Marie was gracious enough to hit play on. And, Giving Tuesday has meant a lot to the radio station. For the past several years, we've been notarized for being really an essential part of a lot of other people's successful Giving Tuesdays. And they're going to be joining us later today. I will be in the Port Charlotte region around 5, and then around 6 o'clock, I'm going to be heading up to the Bocalupa in Northport. So Bocalupa in Port Charlotte and Bocalupa in Northport will both be destinations later on this evening for me. I know that Pete Emmerich and Justin are here to really talk to you about certain things and interview guests along the way. This evening is going to be even more special, and we've got some really good things planned for you guys. So join in, spread the word, and keep Giving Tuesday hot and heavy all day today.
And the reason we're going to Bocalupa, I'll go like this. The reason we're going to Bocalupa Coal-Fired Pizza, and they have 2 in Northport and 1 in Port Charlotte. They give back to the community 52 weeks a year. Did you know that, Justin? 52 weeks a year. They give almost I think it's about $100,000 a year back to the nonprofit and school organizations within the communities of Northport and Charlotte County. So if you're a nonprofit out there, find out tonight when we're at the Bocalupas how you can sign up for their Pizza for a Cause and be one of those nonprofits that gets chosen. 52 weeks. That means 52 of you have a chance to go for Pizza for a Cause. Justin, we're going to turn it over to you because you have a special guest right now, and it's Pete Emmerich. And Pete was the mayor of Northport when Hurricane Ian hit. And we'll get into when all else fails, because you're going to be talking about a lot about what had happened.
Here for the next 5 hours, so we got plenty of time to talk about when all else fails.
Okay. Well, we're going to turn it over to you and to Pete Emmerich right now to talk about it, and I will mute me on my end. Okay.
Well, Commissioner Emmerich, we got you here today. Let's start with, what was the city's response during after Hurricane Ian?
Well, I mean, it was hot and heavy because when I got up that morning, right after the storm came through, I went out, checked out my front yard, checking out our damage, looking at trees down, trees across the road. I mean, my little area over there was pretty well pummeled, and the Holiday Park, which is right adjacent to us, that was like over in our neighborhood with a lot of their debris. And there was really no way to get out of my area to go assess other things. And I seen a utility truck drive down, and I got to get a phone call at the same time. And they're saying, well, we have a press conference in like an hour. I need you at City Hall. I'm like, well, how the hell am I going to get there?
Right.
So I stopped the utility truck. I go, how did you get here? He ended up writing me a map. I had to go down Pan Am to Biscayne to come around, and I was still driving through about 2-3 foot of water to get to City Hall for the press conference. So I could get with PD and fire and assess all the situations. And at that point, we had already heard from Ron DeSantis that everybody that was staging up in Lake City was on their way to Northport and the surrounding areas. So it just took a little bit of time to get them down here, but they were ready, feet on the ground within a few hours of the first day's activities, going out there, assessing situation, assessing the flooding, Country Club Ridge took a very hard hit. A lot of the
Yeah,
homes were devastated. People were going in on their own with their little boats and stuff, trying to get people out. Same with the estates.
Talking about McKibben Ridge, I'm gonna cut you off for
Okay,
a
but
second.
1 second, I was just saying with the flooding, we're sort of used to doing that with the estates area. And I hate to use them as a common denominator, but we've got a lot of training from that area to do, Country Club Estates. Go ahead.
Absolutely. But talking about Giving Tuesday, when you bring up McKibben Park, the first couple of days driving by there, what's the name of it? The Shiver Shack. Shiver Shack was set up out front of McKibben Park for like 3 days straight, just giving out free snow cones. It's pretty incredible to watch a business that is literally shut down, that is from that neighborhood, and then has to go out there and provide their community with some form of a snack.
And speaking of that, there was all sorts. I mean, once we got into the run of things, like every other day, it was like, well, where's dinner at? You would be over here at this corner or this corner. And sometimes you had a variety of choices because some people were just giving out so much food.
Absolutely.
That it was like, okay, well, we had this yesterday. We're going to have this today. And I know Elaine would come home and she'd go, well, this is what was at, because you guys were set up down here. And I mean, if anybody was out and about, there was always a hot meal available. And I don't think anybody, unless they were stranded home, went without eating if they were on the move.
And even if you were stranded home, it was kind of crazy to see, because I live in the Cranberry District, and we were an island for quite a while. You had one way in and one way out, and that was to go down 4 feet of water down Cranberry to get to Toledo Blade to make it out of there. But families couldn't come and go, but our neighbors were setting up grills in their front yard and just feeding their entire neighborhood. It was one of the greatest things I've seen. I got to meet neighbors that I've never met before. We met them in other neighbors' driveways who we've never met before, all because they're sitting out there feeding us. And it didn't matter if you were, we saw it quite often driving through town, where you just saw people, it looked like block parties, but it wasn't even a block party because so much was devastated. It's just people were losing their food so quick. You might as well cook it and feed the people around you.
And I'm sure that happened in a lot of different neighborhoods. I know of one couple over in my old neighborhood that they posted on Facebook all the time that they were doing meals at their house, Scott and Sue Bryant. And what a lovely group of family over there. But they were feeding them breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you needed to eat, you went to their house. He was smoking, he was charcoaling. I mean, food was there, and that was for the neighborhood. That's awesome. That's when people have to put their, well, this is what I got. Let's eat.
Exactly. I mean, you're losing everything anyways. Why put it in the garbage can?
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
And they kept doing that, until we got a little bit more established in the neighborhoods and stuff. And
speaking of the estates, you were going to bring up more about out there, a part of our community that was devastated. I don't want to say worse than any other area, but probably the worst it's been in years back there.
Yes. Yeah. We have done a lot of work on that Myakkahatchee Creek, and we did get rid of a lot of the water. We could have probably been a lot worse off if we hadn't done that a few years back. But with the watershed and everything coming down, the water, that we got with the rains for 7 hours just sitting on top of us, all of that combined together, we could have had a lot more problems out there.
At one point in time, I was driving from Northport to Sarasota. We had to get gas for the generator, and I didn't like to search for the gas, so I just made the trip up to Sarasota to the one little corner gas station that I knew was never busy and always had gas. But when you would drive down the interstate, you could literally watch people putting their boats in from the interstate to get out to the estates to do rescue missions, which was pretty incredible. Yeah,
because the interchange at I-75 there had been shut down for a while because of the water and people running off the road because it was so deep. And, that's where it was a perfect place to launch your boat because you could get out there from that point.
Yeah, we went out. It's funny because the first day I made it it was the day after the storm. I somehow made it up through the awful line of Cranberry. And that was the craziest thing. There were periods of time where it took 3.5 to 4 hours to make it from Cranberry and Price down to Cranberry and Toledo Blade. And it's because, number one, it was the only exit out of that Cranberry area. And number two, the gas station at the end would have gas for about 30 minutes a morning, and people would just sit in line for hours at a time thinking that there was going to be more gas, but the gas would be gone within 40 minutes of it getting there. But when we were coming down, we saw, I got to make it out on the interstate, made it up through Sumter. And by the time I had made it back to go back to my house, the water had already risen another 3 feet on the day after the storm, which was pretty crazy. None of us thought about the water rising in the days after the storm. We think of it with the storm and during it, but you don't think of the cause and effect. But we are the water. We are the end of the watershed. So all of that water that comes from north of us has to flow somewhere. And unfortunately, we're the pit for it.
Yeah, and I thought I was doing very well for this storm. I prepared. I mean, I went out ahead of time. I had gas cans full, had extra cans of propane, ordered a generator that had guaranteed 3-day shipping like a week prior to the storm. Yeah, my generator showed up an hour after power was restored, 9 days after the storm. So I shared my gas and everything with my neighbor who had a generator that would allow me to plug in my refrigerator. And that was about all I could live on for like 9 days. And then I did get a generator that was donated to me for a couple days. And then once mine came and we got power, it got donated to somebody else so they could use it, because people were out of power for a lot longer than what I was.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because I think we were out for, 10 days without power. And for the first 3 days, we had no electric in the house. I had one cable ran from the neighbors, which plugged into the fridge. I snuck a extender off of it so I could get a second plug for the phone.
Right.
But I don't know why we were plugging in our phones and stuff, because we had no service.
We had no service.
It was like being in the 1990s all over again.
And it probably took me, I mean, we got real busy on, starting to clean up the city and going out. I probably didn't leave Northport for 3 weeks, because for one, I know they've got their own issues down there, but we were trying to key in on getting everything cleaned up here, because when you have, and this is what's sad about some of the stuff, when you do have a catastrophe like what we had, you do have people come in and try and take advantage of people. We had people going through that were cutting up the trees in front of a person's house to get them out of the road, and they were charging the people that. And it's like, no, the city will come around and get that. That's not your responsibility. And just trying to curb that. And then we had disaster relief people come in, and they were stationed down in Port Charlotte, and what they offered, which was phenomenal, if you got on their list, and they didn't turn anybody away, it was just as much as they could get done, they would. They were here for, I think, 6 weekends. They would come in from all over. I mean, the guy that I talked to was from Oklahoma.
You're talking about the Mormon outreach program. Yes.
And they would come out to your property, clean up, cut down your trees, take it out to the road, clean up fencing, whatever type of help you needed. They would put you on a schedule, come out, and it was free of charge.
That's incredible.
And they came out for, I think, 6 different weekends to help individuals in town. Now, they were busy and they camped out down there, and we got to go tour their site, and it was just how they had it all put together. They were a machine.
Well, and that's one of my real estate clients got lucky enough to have them come out and help her. She's a widow of a veteran. And they came out, showed up at the house, and I was like, hey, I want to bring you lunch. And the guy looked at me and he's like, yeah, do not do that. And I was like, what do you mean? That's my way of paying you back. And he's like, listen, you don't understand. This is what we do. And before we leave, our wives make us lunches for each day of why we're gone. If I don't eat the lunch my wife made me, I am going to piss her off, and I'm not doing that. And the man that was talking to me, it's crazy because he was a doctor. The people that were helping him were attorneys and teachers, and they were just the people within their communities that said, hey, we're taking off for the next 3 days, we're coming down, and they just showed up and helped. It was amazing.
And they would rotate between different groups would
Yeah.
come down. Like you would have a group from Georgia that would be coming down
That's
this
the group
week.
we got.
And then the group from Oklahoma was down this week, or North Florida was down, X week. And they were trying to stay even longer.
Yeah. It's interesting to what. Yeah, we rearranged a little bit over here. We've got some guests in the house. RJ Malloy just walked in the door with us. Let's adjust out the screen a little bit so y'all can see him over there.
Hey guys.
But it's talking about another person that gave WKDW. Did you guys sleep at all during the hurricane?
No,
No,
it was nuts.
Yeah.
We were actually here for the storm. Myself and Kim Galloway. Kim held this side down. I held that side down. And like we said, we'll never do that again. Never.
Yeah, I bet not. It's, just being at home watching it, I couldn't imagine being responsible for 87,000 residents. I mean, you think it's stressful when you have to worry about your own house and you have to worry about a radio station, which is reaching 40,000 people to give them minute by minute information. But to be the mayor of a community where you have to step up and make sure that things are being done, and it's not just you. I know that it's a team of you guys as commissioners, but when you're in a state of emergency, the first person that people call is the mayor, whether they're from Northport, Alabama. I mean, tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. The guy's name is Bobby Hurden. As a matter of fact, he just put in his resignation this week.
Really?
He wanted to have his council name a road Benefactor Way because he's into, everybody that helps and helps. And he made a vow like 11 years ago when he first took office that he would, anytime there was a catastrophe in a nearby community, he would go ahead and help. They raised money, brought supplies. And when Northport, Florida got hit, he made that 15-hour trip straight down here with like 2 trucks and a trailer full of stuff. They spell their name in one word. So it's Northport, one word. We're Northport, 2 words. But he come down and I had to be on site. He had to meet the mayor of Northport and met up with him at the San Pedro's. And we had hotel reservations, everything. We were going to, treat them to dinner and all this stuff. Nope, we're heading back after they offloaded, and they were going to stay up in Bradenton or something and head straight back. But it's just something that he does, and he's always been doing since he's been there. And what a privilege to meet people like that, because that's totally being, selfless.
Yeah. And I mean, talk about connecting the 2 Northports.
Yes.
I mean, it's funny. We actually, for those of you guys who have been in Northport for the last few years, we really didn't know that there was another Northport that existed unless you went out of your way to look for it. But I think it was 2016, a whole bunch of us learned about Northport, Alabama. So to see 7 years later, 6 years later, to have them show up in our community and to support us, what an incredible turn of events.
We found out the hard way when Elaine went down to her sister's house and left her computer for work down there. And her sister sent it to Northport. It ended up in Northport, Alabama,
oh, shoot, that's
and not Northport, Florida. So that took a few days to get that sent back the right way. And then I think there's a Northport, New York too. They're all over the place. So
tell us. So the governor called you.
Yep. Well, the governor's office called and said that he wanted to come down and get out and see what the devastation was. And we got with Florida Wildlife and the police department. They arranged some airboats, and we took off from that spot on 75, and we went out and we went through the estates, him and his wife, and myself and the city manager, the police chief. There was only a handful of us that went out there. And as we're going, you got a whole family in their boats. They're going, hi, hey. I mean, happy and joyful. They're devastated, but they're out there having a good time, looking at where the water levels were, some trucks underneath the water all the way up to the houses. And when we came back and we were talking a little bit, we went all the way over to Estates Drive to where I showed them. That's DeSoto County. And you could see where the water levels were up. And he was heading there the next day, I guess. But when we got back, I just looked at his wife and she looked mortified. I mean, that ride out there, it was like, wow, these people have really gone through something.
Yeah.
And I don't think she may have ever, I know they're up there and they see everything, but may not have seen it in a firsthand atmosphere like what we provided.
I remember after Charlie, when we went down to Port Charlotte, and that would have been 15, I think 15 at the time, and it was just devastated. And you come back with this feeling of, oh my gosh, it could have been us. And driving down the road after this one and seeing it hit home, it is definitely different because it is us this time. It's not 5 miles up the road. It's not 20 miles up the road, but it is here at home. And when so there was a Red Cross, a truck of Red Cross people coming in up Cranberry, and I was walking down the road to the Dollar General to our distribution site, and I saw the lady in the truck from the Red Cross and the look of horror on her face. And I remember thinking, man, you're like day 4. It looks 10 times better than it did 4 days ago. Why are you so upset? And it kicked in that, oh my gosh, that's the same look we had with Charlie driving into Port Charlotte. But it's kind of true. Once you get to day 4, 5, 6, 7 of being here, every day gets a little bit better. And every day looks a little bit better than yesterday.
I don't know if it gets better that quickly. I think you get used to it.
Maybe that's the word I'm
because
looking for.
in my neighborhood in El Jobin was absolutely devastated.
Yeah.
Trees down, all the wires were down, a lot of houses were blown apart.
Yeah.
And the first couple of days, it's tough to look at it.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you get used to the fact that you can't park your car here because there's a big pile of bushes and, that sort of thing. But
yeah, I guess better is the wrong word.
Yeah. But on the other side of that, you're right. Things are getting better. The services came in, Florida Power came into our neighborhood and they had everything hooked up in a couple of days, which was great.
I believe there was 50,000 linemen ready and waiting to
That's
go.
right. They were waiting to come down
up in Lake City, and that was due to the governor getting that squared away because we didn't know where it was going to hit. We didn't know if they were going to Tampa, Miami. You got a whole state. That's a good place to start.
Exactly. And it's kind of crazy talking about those linemen. When All Else Fails became the food distribution coordinator for the World Central Kitchen for the city of Northport, something I never thought we would take over. But at the end of the night, at the end of our distribution point, we would save about 250 meals and we'd go over to Kia. And when we think of these linemen, so many times you think, oh, they're sleeping in a hotel room, they're sleeping here, they're sleeping there. These men and women are in their trucks.
They're taking showers by garden hoses.
Yeah, they're sleeping in their trucks. We found them sleeping on hammocks hung between the trucks. And It was the most sobering experience I've ever walked through because we thought we had it rough, but these people are choosing to come to our neighborhood and live in a hammock on the back end of a truck to make sure our community gets the electric back. That's pretty incredible.
And one thing I want to say too is on the commitment from the DeSantis family was a few days after we went on that tour, I get another phone call that I got to meet Mrs. DeSantis out at the technical college because they're setting up the relief stations out there, and she was coming down to make sure that it was being handled properly for our little area. That's how committed she was. And
that's pretty amazing.
Yes, it is. I mean, so I was kept very, very busy. And it's hard to get all of the commissioners together when your communications are very limited. So it was like, we need you. Okay, I'll be there. If we could get in touch with the other ones, they would gladly attend, too. But sometimes you just couldn't get in touch with everybody. Right. So,
I mean, and that's the thing.
They made sure I had power to keep my phone on, and stuff like that. So,
well, communication too. And one of the things too that you men are talking about is really what Giving Tuesday or giving back to your community is about, because being kind, anybody can be kind, and that's what it takes. But we did find out, and I'm sorry, I thought I had my phone turned off. But one of the things is, RJ, you've been out there and seen what you're doing actually with the Northport Area Chamber. They stepped up and they've been helping as much as they can in serving meals and that. And Justin, we'll talk about some of that's been going on with you when All Else Fails. And Pete, let's talk about some of those nonprofits or the people, the heroes that stepped up with their airboats, their canoes, and were rescuing people too in those neighborhoods. Can you address that a little?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, people were going out there all on their own, and Florida Fish and Wildlife came down with their airboats, and just citizens were out there. And I mean, especially with Country Club Rib, before they even had boats, people were walking back in those waters, not knowing what's in those waters. Whenever you have floodwaters, there's all sorts of critters that come with those floodwaters, and, moccasins, there's a lot to be fearful out in those waters, but they just stood in harm's way just to go make sure everybody was taken care of.
And I want to address RJ too. RJ's home was devastated after the hurricane, but instead of RJ doing that, he went to the Bean Depot and was helping people fill out FEMA forms and helping them move ahead with that. Can you talk about that, RJ?
What Donnie Barini did is he offered free breakfast. And then I set up, because we had the generators there and I had the Calyx box that pulls data from anywhere. So I was able to do FEMA applications. We stayed there for 5 days, day after the storm. And for 5 days straight, we did applications for FEMA, and we did the Blue Roof application. Because these are people that had no power, no ability to get on the internet. And a lot of them were elderly. And even if they had power and internet, they would not have been able to figure their way through. By the time we were finished after 4 days, we had done 225 FEMA applications and 160 plus Blue Roof applications. Wow. And then the chamber stepped up and they hired me to come up for 3 days a week and do FEMA applications there. And we've done quite a few there. And now I'm there every Wednesday and I'm helping people with their FEMA appeals, because if you didn't get what you thought you were going to get, come see us at the chamber. I'm there from 10 until about 3 in the afternoon, and we'll help you get the appeal through, and we'll help you. And the FEMA guys have been great, and the SBA people have been great. They've been tutoring us on what to do and how to fill out applications, how to get things through, who to call when there's a problem. So it's worked out really well that we were able to get that information out and through for people.
And I do know that the Northport Area Chamber, like one of our people that is the secretary of our board, and she's also show host, and we're all volunteers at the radio station, just to let everybody know out there. Her home was
today.
Gotta go.
Yeah, wait a minute. We thought we were getting paid.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Hold on, we're leaving, huh? We're out of here. Yeah, no, none of us get paid or whatever.
Yeah, wait a minute. I thought the whole point was y'all were giving. We were taking.
Oh, is that how it worked?
That's what we thought. How do you think I got them here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have lemon drops? Because I got lemon drops here, and that's how I got John in the room.
Oh,
drop. Yeah.
John's used to a different type of lemon drop, let me tell you.
And he's going to be at Boca Lupa tonight, and they have a pizza for a cause. That's why we're going there. And they actually picked out the Northport Area Art Center as their donation nonprofit today. So if you're out and about to eat, go to a place that's giving back to their community all the time without anything that they're asking for in return. So RJ, like with Gail West, they had to rescue her by airboat. She lost her home and she lost 2 vehicles, and they had to take her husband to the hospital when they rescued them. But the Northport Area Chamber, when they found out that Gail needed help to go clean out her house and take down drywall and all of her belongings and that, they stepped up and sent people out to help her. And she said the Rotary has a disaster team, and they showed up to help her because they knew that she needed help. What are you seeing out there, Justin? Because I know that you were out there and you got that phone call.
It's, the Rotary Club has been pretty amazing. It's whether they were in Inglewood or here, Kiwanis has stepped up at a level that is unbelievable. Every single day for the first 30 days, somebody was out there multiple of the Kiwanians were out there, but every day for the first 60 days, there was at least one Kiwanian within the community doing something to make a difference. You have Moving Mountains that was absolutely incredible in our community. It's such an amazing group that started out of Cranberry Elementary School as an after school program and has just absolutely exploded. The American Legion was helping their members in ways that they could. You had AMVETS who has showed up, and at the amount of times that we were in phone calls with the AMVETS on joint projects throughout the storm, throughout the recovery of the storm, was pretty amazing as well.
Yeah, and you're going to be hearing from Ronnie Carroll.
Yeah,
this
he's going to come
afternoon
in a bit.
from AMVETS. Yeah.
I have a special guest in there. Just hold on one second.
Okay.
So my youngest of 5 children is home today, and he has been having an allergic reaction to different things since Saturday. And because the rash breaks out so bad, he is home from school. So I told him I was coming up here today, and he's like, wait, I'm going to the radio station too. So he convinced his mom into bringing him up here. So Quentin, say hello.
No.
You got to talk nice and loud.
No.
What was it like going through a hurricane? Talk nice, loud, and clear. Was it scary to go through a hurricane?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the scariest part about it?
Like the tree falling on the bathroom roof.
Oh, the tree falling on the bathroom roof. That was pretty scary, huh? Did you spend a lot of time in the closet? Yeah. They can't hear your head nod. You got the words. Yeah.
That's all right. Elaine spent a lot of time in the bathtub.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So did you help your dad afterwards when all else fails? Did you go out in the community? Did you do your good deeds?
Yeah, you helped giving out dinners, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What stuff did we do to help people?
Like giving out free food and supplies.
Yeah, we did. We gave out a lot of supplies, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We again, having 5 kids, it's kind of, so each of you guys that rode out through the storm, one of the things that we think as a parent is, did we make the right decision? And it's kind of interesting because you think, well, do we evacuate? Do we go and spend our time inside of a school? Do we take 5 kids? And at the time we had 9 dogs in our house. At the time we had 9 dogs, and it was, do we pack up 5 children and 9 dogs in crates and go and sit at the school? But we decided to sit home, and as the wind hit, it was nothing we could have been prepared for, was it, buddy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There were times where, and you have to realize our electric went out about 2 hours before the storm really hit. So we went from having power, having what we thought was stability, to just being completely in the dark in wind for what felt like 14 hours straight.
Yeah.
But for those of you guys that stayed home, you made the right decision. You made the best choice you could in the moment. But I definitely think we'll do it a little bit different next year.
I know we are, because it was
We are too. And I was through Charlie, and I said, I'm evacuating. And with this one, we didn't know where to go. They were telling us to go south, and because it was supposed to hit Tampa and north of us, not to go north. So we were going to go south. We were getting everything ready. And then they said, don't travel because there's tornadoes out there. And we're going, where are we going? We're staying here. So we ended up doing the right thing here because we, after Charlie, had a metal roof put on, all of our hurricane windows and shutters, and extra tie downs on our pool. The only thing that we lost was soffit and fence. So, we're blessed. Of course, we had the debris and all, but so many of my friends have lost their homes. My one girlfriend lost a husband in rescue, and they evacuated, but they went by Daytona, and she ended up losing her husband in a rescue because it was 19.5 inches of rain up there. So there was flooding going on all over. When we're talking about that, what's your son's name? Quentin, you are a hero. You are somebody what Giving Tuesday is about. People that give back in their community, and they don't expect anything in return. That's what Giving Tuesday is about, is you giving of your gifts of anything that you can possibly do out in your community for your neighbor. How many of us are elderly? I'm considered elderly now. You too, Pete. I'll be 73 this next month. And the thing is what we could do at Justin's age when Hurricane Charlie hit, it was 18 years ago. We didn't need help from other people. We could do it ourselves. Now that we're older, we can't do a lot of that things. We still have fences down and we still have more debris to pick up. However, it will wait. You know, there are a lot of other people out there that really need things. And Justin, what you did, and I know the Northport area chamber was running up and helping with serving food too.
Yeah.
Was that with you guys?
The chamber has been an amazing partner throughout all of this. I don't care what organization it is, whether you are a chamber member or not during hurricane relief. Emily, Bill, the whole group, Denise, the whole group inside of the chamber, they stepped out in a way that none of us could have expected. When we were moving food, Emily Shaw showed up with the Chamber of Commerce truck. And I had that poor woman going from building to building, trailer park to trailer park. On the last day that I was in charge of the food distribution, they brought us 15,000 meals to distribute out. And rather than waiting for people to show up to us, Emily showed up in that truck and we went community by community to make sure that food made it to where it needed to go. Even whenever we went to Willow Creek and I had Emily going up and down the stairs with me in every single building, breaking in the doors because the doors were locked and we had to get in somehow. But you don't realize what a community has gone through until you see its citizens and its community step up to put it back together.
And this is all up and down the Southwest Florida coast right now. We are seeing heroes in all different forms. All of us are suffering from PTSD. Just to let you know, to the world out there, we have all gone through trauma that we've never expected. Because with Charlie, it was done in 45 minutes when it went through. That hurricane lasted, how many
hours.
Huh?
I swear it sat over our house for 14 hours. From
I think so. I think so because it started hitting us about noon here.
I heard it sat above us for like 7 hours.
Yeah.
Been told, but you got to remember the beginning to the end. I'm talking about the most. Cat 5 was about 7 hours, but what's sort of comical about this, it was like we didn't have no power at that time. It had already started. Yeah. It was 9 o'clock and we're laying in bed and Elaine gets up. She says, "This shit's supposed to have been over by 6 o'clock."
Right.
Says, I'm not enough of
this. The eye's almost here. We're going to be able to breathe.
Yeah, and I'm like,
okay. The eye's almost here.
I said, it's not going to work that way. And then a couple hours goes by. She said, I said, this is done by 6 o'clock. I said, go to the front door and yell at it a little bit. Right? Yeah, that's when she went to the bathroom.
And it's so funny because anybody that's has lived up north and gone through a blizzard, that's what we were seeing outside the door. Yeah. Outside our windows, it was a whiteout.
Yeah,
it was a whiteout, and we sat there and watched it because we weren't afraid of I don't know why, we were just stupid, but we weren't afraid of our windows blowing in because we've been through a few different things. But I'm watching this, I said, I can't even see out to the pool. I can't see out the front to the tree. And I'm going, this is crazy. This is like we're in a blizzard. Have you ever experienced? Well, you have, Pete. No, Justin, you have too.
Yeah, it's so I've grown up between here and the Outer Banks of North Carolina. I have lived through hurricanes my entire life.
Yeah, we had blizzards 76, 77, and 78 in upstate New York where you could be snowed in for a whole week.
Right, right.
And it was bad.
We only did the one blizzard.
Well, in 78, Dad said, that's it. I'm retiring, moving to Florida. So that was the last one we participated in.
We got a clearing of snow on April 3rd. The truck was packed by April 8th.
He said, that's it.
Well, I'm from northeastern Minnesota, don't you know?
Right?
So 40 below, they didn't even call off school until it was like 20 below and that. And we used to walk to school uphill both ways. And
Yep.
Yeah, both ways. Yeah. But absolutely.
I had to walk 5 miles uphill to get there. You kids don't even know what it was like.
Right. But one of the things, though, I wanted to discuss this a little bit, and I don't know what you're seeing out there for nonprofits. One of the things that we had happening before this is COVID with us not being able to participate with each other and see people in person, and everybody's seeing me virtual because I've had some health issues right now. But the reason why I'm mentioning that is we were already in a mental state of going into stuff, and then we were starting to get out and doing things, and then this hurricane hit, and we were having problems in nonprofits, not at the radio station so much, but in other nonprofits, that they're not able to get volunteers to come back. No, are you seeing that, Justin? Are you seeing that, Pete? That there's a lot of people that they reevaluated what they're doing.
Well, I think first off, the people that I have seen, they've left their stuff at home to go out and help the others to begin with, because most of the people that I know, they fared fairly well, but there's a lot of people in our community that did not. So they would put there, like myself, I lost a tree, I lost my fence. All that stuff can wait. I can live in my house. I'm good. So I'm helping other people. And now it's time to get back to start working on my own stuff. But let's get it more livable for others. And I think now they're taking time to take care of their own stuff and still help others in between. Because like I said, I got people coming out. I'm finally getting interviews for my fencing and a little roof patching, and my trees the rest of it's getting hauled out tomorrow. So it's coming in pieces. But I think that after COVID, with the nonprofits, it gave them a sense of purpose again, going out there and helping the community. It's like, all right, we got to strap our boots on. Let's go to work, because we couldn't do that for the last year and a half. So, I mean, I've seen that out there, and people are doing very well.
Yeah, we have a new guest coming into the room. You can stay there, Pete.
Sorry. I was trying not to talk while he was talking. Come on up, have a seat.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll put you over here because
He's going to go on the end.
Yeah, I'll go on the end. But just one more thing before I got to get out of here is we are still picking up debris throughout the city. We're going to continue to pick up debris. Keep your trees separate from your regular wood and garbage debris, because they're going into two different areas. The wood from your trees is going to be chipped up. The other's going to landfill. So we just got to keep it separated. If it's bungled together, they're not picking it up until you separate it.
Yeah. And listen, the city's done an incredible job. Thank you, Pete, for coming on with
No
us.
problem.
Commissioner Emmer.
Thank you, Pete.
Appreciate you.
And Pete, he's going to be on all day. If you want to come on until 5 o'clock, come on in.
Well, no, you're going to have the wife. I'm trying to stay away from her today.
Oh, okay. All right.
On it a
Thank you
little bit.
so much. And that was Pete Emmerich, his city commissioner with the city of Northport. And the person that's coming into the screen right now is Ernie LaJoy, right?
Yeah.
Did I say that correct?
Oh, yeah, you did. Thank you.
Okay, and he's with the Sons of Italy out of Port Charlotte. Also, I want to, well, actually, Ernie, we'll let you introduce yourself a little bit, because you give back, but I want to know from you, because I did some research on you, and I'm going to have him on my show. What did you do for a living?
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for this opportunity to inform people about the Sons of Italy, as well as a little bit about myself. But I was a deep undercover narcotics officer. Only 4 people knew what my real name was for 18 years, with a total of 27 years on the job.
Wow.
Wow. And that's amazing because you're putting yourself at risk. Now, when you came out of that, when did you, how old were you? Were you able to retire then when you came out of the deep cover?
The only reason I stopped deep cover was because I had a severe heart attack and triple bypass. And that forced me, actually, I had a severe heart attack. I went back to work for a few years, but that forced me to retire in 1993. And shortly thereafter, I had a triple bypass. And then I just had one again 27 years later.
Wow. Wow. Justin, are you leaving us in the room?
No, I'm still here.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, my name is Ernie LaJoy Sr. It's Ernie LaJoy Sr., SR. You can find me on Facebook. I'm president of the Sons of Italy in Port Charlotte. The Sons of Italy have been in Port Charlotte since 1955, long time. And people think that you have to be Italian to come in, to enjoy the place, or to even be a member. You don't have to be Italian. More than half of the place is not Italian. We have a lot of fun. The name of the game is enjoy life and help other people. That's what our thing is. We have charities. We build scholarships we donate scholarships to high school students in the area. When they graduate, we usually pick either 2 or 4, depending on how much money is available. No one gets paid at the Sons of Italy at all for anything. It's all volunteers, all volunteer work. We're a group of people trying to give back to our country and to our neighbors. Recently with Iron, I'll show you a cooperative situation. Recently with Iron, the storm, our lodge was almost totally destroyed. We couldn't use it. And one of the other lodges sent us a 44-foot truck full of food and water and everything. So I called Jay at the American Legion, who's the commander over there. And I told him, look, could you take the truck? And he did. And that truck alone helped over 2,000 people, just that truck. And he had many, many more trucks there. So that was kind of, that's cooperation within the community to help the local people. And those are the things that we do. We give scholarships. I mentioned we work with veterans. We help veterans. We support the Homeless Coalition over in Port Charlotte. We donate to Alzheimer's, coolies, anemia, autism, and many others. I have a lot of this written down because I can't remember all of it. I'm getting old, 80 years old.
You said 80 years old?
Yes, sir.
So you're Sicilian then, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
I figured. My wife is Sicilian too. There's something about Sicilian people. Y'all just don't age.
Personally, I have 10 books published. They've done 2 TV shows about me. And that's enough about me. But more importantly, we have pasta nights every Thursday night. Right now we're closed. We're going to open in December, reopen after I get the place straightened out. I have with me and a group of people from the collage. There's a lot of work that had to be done. A lot of things had to be replaced. And everyone's been very kind. Problem is we're running out of money. That's the big thing. And I really want to get these scholarships out this year. So we need $1,000 just for that, for the 2 500s, just to get 2 out. If we get 4, that'd be nice. We try very hard to make it a fun place. When you come there, we don't care what your beliefs are, what your religion is, what your race is. We don't care anything about that. We're just there to have fun, have a good time. We have karaoke every Thursday night. And everybody gets up and sings. Sometimes we get up in a group and sing. It's all things that happen. The only thing we don't do is we don't sell liquor or beer. So it's a bring your own bottle type of situation if you want anything like that. Other than that, we have water, soda, coffee, lemonade, and more. And we charge for the pasta night. We just charge $14, and that's pretty good for pasta, meatballs, salad, dessert, everything. and karaoke all night. So that's basically our whole program.
Where are you able to hold it right now? Because I know your
Well,
place
right now yeah, correct. Right now we're not doing anything. We're working on the building, but the location is 3725 Easy Street in Port Charlotte. If you going south on 41, you come to Easy Street, you take a right. We're about a quarter of a mile down on the right. You can't miss the building. It's a great big 5,000 square foot building. It's been there since 1953, I believe.
I remember seeing that. Isn't it right near the Cultural Center? Not
Welcome.
too far from there.
It's not far, but
Not
it's on the
far.
opposite side of 41.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Yeah.
Those of y'all that can hear the additional voice that has joined us, Pat Petersmark has walked in the door.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for the applause of our audience to come, but I didn't have a button to click. And
yeah, the button that plays with that. Yeah, Pat's an integral part of our radio station, and I had asked her just to pop him when she came in. We're going to be doing an interview with her a little after we're done with you, Ernie. But she's there to even ask questions because she has a couple of shows out and about, and also chat with Pat. So, Pat, would you like to ask Ernie a few questions?
Well, I kind of came in, sort of in the middle of this. So you asked the question I was going to do was, where are you located? But it sounds like you've been getting a lot of help, which is great. Do you have any idea when you might be able to?
We're hoping to open in December.
Oh, good.
I should tell you that also that it might be interesting, not that I should tell you, but it might be interesting to know that being a writer, I have 10 books published, as I mentioned. I write shows for the lodge, and the shows are put on by the members and guests. Anybody that wants to be in the show, I usually write a part for them, and we charge very, very little for these shows. Usually, and it's usually a dinner show, and it's usually $25 to $35, and it's an all-night deal. You really have a great time. You usually start on 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it goes till 8, 9 o'clock, and it's a lot of fun. Everybody has a ball, and the shows that we put on are the ones that I write, number one, and also we have a lot of great guests. Like we were supposed to have Mike D'Amore. Of course, I had to cancel him. I had to cancel the Del Prados. I had to cancel a couple of other entertainers because of the storm. But we will reestablish once we reopen in December. So we're going to have a big party in December. Anyone that's interested can go to my Facebook, Ernie LaJoy Sr. on Facebook. I put notices up there. And I also put them on Friends of Italy, which is one of my sites. And The Prayers, Preyers,
So
which
they'll
is
tell
one of my
people-
sites.
And the lady next to you does out and about.
I was
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
to say that Rick Johnstone from WKDW does our public service announcements for free. So when you have dates and all that, you can email either him or I, and I'll give you our email address, and we'll talk about it. And Rick and I co-host a show called Out and About, which we talk about all the events going on in the area.
Oh, that's great. I usually, Joe's a member of the club.
Yeah.
Joe
Joe
Moria.
Right, yeah. Oh,
And
cool. Yeah.
he usually has all the information, and he has been very helpful. And I appreciate your offer. That's wonderful.
So I want to know where it says on here that you guys began in 1955 here in Port Charlotte.
No, they didn't begin in 50. They began in 53.
53.
But they took this building in 55.
Okay. All right.
And we have our own kitchen. We have storage rooms. We have a small office. We have a small stage, and we can seat 120 people roughly. So we have a lot of fun. We very rarely get that high in the numbers for the shows. The only ones that sell tickets are the council, and that's 10 people, and they do the best they can with as many as they can. The shows I write, usually we get 100 to 110 people, and that's I don't like to go over 100, really, 100, 105 maybe. I don't like to go much higher because you only have so much room.
Do you ever rent out your building to other organizations?
Well, we will. It depends on who it is and what they're doing. We don't allow liquor in the building unless you bring your own.
Right.
And like recently, we were supposed to have the Girl Scouts. We don't charge them, of course. There's a lot of organizations that want to use the building, and we let them use it, but we don't charge them. The Girl Scouts were supposed to have their Thanksgiving there, but of course, Mr. Iron interfered and we had a storm, so I had to cancel that. And I feel so bad about those kids. It was 75 kids with their parents, and they were going to have a little party, Thanksgiving party. But I'm sorry to say we had to cancel that. In the future, we'll be able to help them, though.
Right.
It's one of the many things that we do. I couldn't list everything that we do. It would be impossible. There's like 16 people on the board, 10 members, and then their partners, their wives and husbands. And everyone jumps in and helps with everything. No one, as I said, no one gets paid. I don't get paid. I'm president. And
Yeah, and that's what Giving Tuesday too is about. There are ways that nonprofits do use Giving Tuesday to either kick off their fundraising for the end of the year or use it to have money. And there's some organizations out there that are doing matching money that I'll be talking about when I bring it up on the screen. One of them, people in the past I used to go out and train about Facebook. Well, Facebook this year has changed how they're doing it. And they're running it for since middle of November till the end of the year. If you become a recurring donor, they'll do a matching. They're doing up to $7 million. So if you go to the WKDW 97.5 FM Facebook page, and we're an all nonprofit, nobody gets paid at the station, even the station manager. If you go there and you want to donate and you do it as a recurring one, it'll end up setting it up that after the second donation goes through, they'll match it. So
I want to add to that for a minute, Marie, because they're playing with this morning. If you have made a donation through Facebook to a nonprofit within, it doesn't tell you the amount of time, but I've come up with that it's probably about the last month. If you have donated in that last month and you donate again, they are counting it as a recurring donation.
Oh, that's good to know.
Donate the first time in the morning. Like I donated $55 this morning. If I go back on this evening and I donate another $55, they will match both donations, the one from this morning and the one from this evening.
I did not realize that, Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good to know. And then there's a couple of other ones that I will bring up where you can go to if your nonprofit signed up for it. So it's not all about money, though, because especially in our area, a lot of people are hurting. And if they're giving of their time, or even just by being kind or paying it forward, actually to do that, I'm going to take me off. Actually, I'm going to bring up a screen.
Marie froze.
Yeah, you're going to see the side of me here because I have two computers going on. Okay. Okay. What was I doing? I don't know. I'm trying to multitask, guys. Yeah. But if you see here, okay, I'm going to turn it this way, guys, so you guys don't have to see me. As I'm scrolling through here, there's different ways that you can give. And one of the ways that you can give is nourishment, blood. Donate to a nonprofit or a community organization. Pay it forward. If you're in a grocery line and you see people struggling, with even paying or counting money to do things, if you can afford it, pay it forward. Pay for the person behind you, especially if they only have a few things in their hand, and that's a way to do it if you can do it. You never know what somebody's life is like and you can make a difference for one person at one time. And Pat, this is distribute essentials to people experiencing homelessness, and we'll get back to you about the Backpack Angels because that's a lot that you guys do.
Yeah.
Give a voice to somebody. That's what we're doing right now at the radio station. We're giving people a voice to be able to talk to our audience to let them know what's available out there. And we're going to highlight, just like Ernie, like Pat, like Justin, in the worlds that give back of their time to the community. Now, John Rawlings, that was on with us earlier, John Rawlings was out there every single day after the hurricane, helping all over the community, all over. He's a giver, and he's not really, he doesn't like to talk about how much he gives, but he gives a lot. And
You know, Ray,
Go
when you're talking about John Rawlings, as you know, we talked about this, and I was without my internet or any communication for 15 days. Did have a radio, but my kids actually heard John and RJ on the radio talking about numbers to call, and that was a tremendous help because I didn't know who to call. I didn't have any numbers.
Yeah.
And they did a terrific job.
well, and Pat, I understand that John helped you get some contractors in there.
He really did. My bedroom windows blew out during Hurricane Ian. And this is when people come in handy. The man next door to me, who I rarely see, he works and he's gone, ran over with wood and wooded everything up. And when I finally got a hold of John, he put me in touch with Northport Glass. And they were out within a couple of days, got the windows done. Yeah, they were a tremendous help.
And that's what we're talking about, people giving back. The neighbor running over because he saw that she had a need and she didn't really know who he was.
Yeah.
And, you know, that he was your neighbor, but you really didn't talk to him, right, Pat?
Well, he's he prefers to be alone. You know, he's an older gentleman. I shouldn't say older because he's younger than me. But he just prefers to be alone. You know, he's polite, but he doesn't want to be bothered.
Yeah, and Ernie, I'm sure you saw that members of your Sons of Italy were stepping up to help with the destruction.
Oh, yeah, we've had many step up. I didn't mention that we have collection boxes for St. Vincent de Paul that we help out. And for I mentioned the homeless, but I didn't mention the mothers without children without families. All they have is their mother, and the mother is lost for some reason. There's a special group in Port Charlotte. The exact name of it, I don't know. I know we donate to them because I just authorized another couple $100 to them. So
It's the Guardian Ad Litem.
I'm sorry,
Guardian Ad Litem program.
I don't know the name of it. It's
Valerie's house.
Retha and Jerry. There's so many different groups
Castro.
within the organization. It's hard to remember all of them. I just notated a few, and I didn't put down who the people were that were running it specifically. But if anyone wishes to donate to the Sons of Italy, we don't have a site per se because there was some young fella who, for some reason, did not understand elderly people, and he took offense to us, and he has like 6,000 sites out there, Sons of Italy, and he's hurting us in Port Charlotte by doing that because we don't have a site now. So we haven't had a site for 6 years that I've been president. Yeah. So
Are you on Facebook?
yeah, I'm on
I would say
Facebook.
because
That's why I
most
refer
older people-
everyone. That's why I refer everybody
Yeah.
to Facebook.
Yeah.
Ernie LaBrosse Senior on Facebook.
Yeah, we'll talk off air because I can actually teach people that are nonprofits how to actually register. But if you're with a national, anyhow, we'll do that off air. Justin, do you have other questions for Ernie?
I think that you guys have them covered.
Okay.
What is tell me a little bit about what do you guys have any special events that you're looking for funds for now? So you've got
The biggest thing is the college fund, the college scholarship fund, where our funds, because of our costs to get back open, are very low. And we could use, and anything could be sent. You could contact me on Facebook, and I'd give you my address, or you can send it right to the club, 3725 Easy Street in Port Charlotte, Florida. And the name is the Sons of Italy.
And what's the zip code?
3395 39953. 39953.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Ernie.
My-
I'll be in touch, because I am going to do a show on my history show about your personal life.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And just to answer one of your questions, when you first started, I kind of avoided it. You said it was a little bit rough. It must have been rough. I was shot in the head and I was shot in the shoulder. So those are things that happen. And that's why I started writing books, because of all the things that happen. And there's 10 books. I work with the FBI, the DEA, the ATF. All the books are at North Point Library, too, as a matter of fact.
Can you get them through Amazon? Or?
Yes, they're all on Amazon under my name, Ernie LaJoy Sr. But the primary thing today is the Sons of Italy, if I may. And
If somebody wants to
efforts.
reach you, what number can they reach out to? Do you guys have a number for the club?
Yeah, we do. But there's nobody there right now. The only thing there will be workers. The best way to do anything is get me on
Facebook.
Yeah, Ernie, ERNIE, last name LIJOI, Senior, SR.
Yeah. And one thing great about our stream right now, when it shows up on Facebook and that, it actually puts it in closed captioning. So it'll be typed out there. We don't do the closed captioning. Facebook does. So just in case there's misspellings out there, and I'm glad that you spelled it out.
Thank you.
So thank you. And we're gonna
For having me here. I appreciate it. And I know all of my brothers and sisters in the club, because we all consider ourselves brothers and sisters. I mean, it doesn't matter whether we're related by blood or not. We're all there to help people and to do everything we can, and to help the kids too, if we can. All right.
Thank you for everything you guys are
Thank
doing.
you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Nice
It
meeting
was
you,
nice
ma'am.
meeting you.
So, Marie, we have Ronnie Carroll from American Legion. AmVets Post 2000. I don't know what just happened there, but my brain glitched like you glitched on the system a little bit ago.
Yeah. Oh, did we kind of freeze for you? It didn't on my end, so must be.
So my brain froze for a moment.
Oh, your brain. Well, you know what? I have that a lot, especially lately. And when you're bringing in your AmVet, hi, Ron.
Hello, how are you?
Good. And today's Giving Tuesday, and I'm going to turn it over to Justin and Patricia, Pat Peters.
Don't we have to do the call symbols for the radio station? You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWradio.com. We appreciate you guys for being on here with us today. And
Really good.
so, you're pretty proud of me, aren't you?
Well, no, I'm just saying.
He's better than I am. Coming to you from the Bishop West Real Estate Tower. Just to let you know, too, our tower got struck by lightning in August. And because of the community rallying for us, we're a nonprofit, we were able to raise the fund to get the new transmitter because everything got fried. We were able to still stay on internet, but not on our tower. And when the hurricane hit, we had just got the transmitter in and they didn't get it up, for the hurricane. And luckily it would have been a problem if they had. So they do have the transmission line, new transmitter in place, but we need to get the tower up to full capacity. So in case we're coming in weak, it will be much stronger, hopefully within a week or two when they get this plate mounted and the winch up to get the tower up there. And thanks to volunteers out there that are making this possible, including Joe Fussell, with the City of Northport Police Department. Him and some of the fellow people are going to help with that. So that's my plug with the radio station. And the room that you're in is also a BYOB room. That's Common Grounds Meeting Hall, which is how we raise money at the radio station to pay the lights and pay for the fees that we have to pay. Okay, Justin, it's all yours.
Have some flooding in here too after the hurricane.
Yeah, RJ came in there and discussed that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what RJ was telling us about. It's one of the stories that RJ was telling. I don't mean to
That's okay.
cut in for a minute, but one of the stories RJ was telling us about before we went on air today is that while they were here throughout the storm, he was standing at the window here watching the storm as it was going through, and they had a 5 to 6 foot wave that came across the street and crashed against the door. And he said that when it crashed against the door, it was like they were completely submerged underwater. So it was one of the most incredible things he's seen. And then afterwards, there was still about 1.5 feet of water left over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
Of course.
yeah.
Yeah.
They lucked out here.
Okay, it's up to you guys. I'm turning it on over to you.
All right. So we have Ronnie Carroll from the AmVets Post 2000. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself and the club?
Yes. Well, first I want to say a little bit about Justin Cody Willis. You know, he started
I'm in trouble.
when all else fails years ago, and I got involved with him back then. And I think he's involved in a fundraiser right now. And I'd encourage everyone to try to support that. And now I'll get into Post 2000.
Thank you, Ronnie.
He had donated 150 chicken dinners to our post through when all else fails. We went through La Casa and Harbor Cove from my post, and we passed out those dinners to folks who were absolutely devastated for that hurricane. The Sons of AmVets, they've donated hundreds of hours helping senior members with painting, roof repair, landscaping, that kind of thing. We're a post that believes in helping our neighbors and helping our own members as well. On Sunday, December the 18th, we're going to have a kids' Christmas party. Currently, we have 72 kids' names that we're going to be passing out gifts to. We're
And
involved.
that's a partnership, right?
Yes, that's a partnership actually with the Kiwanis Club.
Yeah.
Elaine Emmerich. We're all working together on this, and also Post 777 out in Inglewood is partnering with us on that. We are very happy to have Post 77 and Post 312, which was totally devastated by the hurricane,
Yeah.
participating with us now. We have karaoke on Monday nights and Thursday nights, and we're just known as the Fun Post, and if you stop in, you'll find out why we're called that.
I've been out there a few times during karaoke, and let me tell you, they have some fun.
We
So
do.
if you're not a member and you are interested in finding out what the AmVets Post 2000 is, you should go out there on a Monday or a Thursday. Be a guest for
Yes.
that evening.
Just for that evening.
You
yes.
provide meals on Mondays and Thursdays, right?
The meals are available. The kitchen is open. Yes.
On those days, if I come as a guest, I can order a meal, right?
Yes, you can.
And how
Yes,
much
you
are
can.
those?
Well, it depends. On Monday nights, we have a hamburger special for $5. You can't beat it. You get a hamburger and fries. There's different things on the menu on different days.
Okay.
We have the best Philly cheesesteak sandwich you have ever
I've
seen
heard
in your
this.
life. I mean, it's
What
incredible.
what post are you?
2000 down
So
here.
you're right on
401
Ortiz.
Yeah. Right.
I've been there many times.
Yes,
I
yes.
didn't get the connection right away.
Okay.
But yeah, we've been there for breakfast.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we've resumed our Sunday breakfast. That goes from 8 o'clock until 11 a.m. Our kitchen staff is fantastic.
Food's great.
Yeah, the food is fantastic. We've just introduced a new menu, and I think you'd be very impressed if you want to stop in and sample our food in our company there. Our state office of AmVets established an emergency disaster fund. Absolutely incredible for our state office to do this. They, any veteran member That includes the sons and the ladies auxiliary, by the way, that fills out the proper paperwork. Anything that your insurance company, if you had no insurance or were underinsured, every member gets $2,500 to try to help you with your rebuilding.
Wow,
I think it's absolutely fantastic.
that's incredible.
And Terry from Post 777 in Inglewood and Cindy Muxlow are the main people behind that. They're doing all the paperwork and all the grunt work, but it's working out fantastic.
And they're open to the public. A lot of people don't realize
We're
that.
open to the public as long as a member can sign them in.
Yeah.
But our Sunday breakfast, it's open to the public, period. Yes.
That's awesome.
Now, we're having a fantastic New Year's steak dinner, okay? You can't go wrong on that. $15, and you get the steak with all the trimmings, and it's going to be really well done.
Is that New Year's or Christmas?
That's New Year's party, New
Okay,
Year's
New
Eve
Year's
party.
party.
Yeah. Christmas is the children's gift.
December
Okay.
18th.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yep.
There's more things I'd like to talk about here. We're raffling off a full adult size Coleman CT 200 mini bike. This thing, it's a brute, you know. It'll go 25, 30 miles an hour. Those tickets are $10 each. And we're going to raffle that off and give that bike to the winner at our New Year's party.
Is that one of the electric bikes?
No, it's not electric, it's gas.
Really?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
This thing's a monster. I mean, it's got tires like you wouldn't believe.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're going to try for it, aren't you?
I am now that I know that it's gas. Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
At electric, I was like, wait a minute, I got a scooter out there.
Yeah.
Stop in the post and buy some
Yeah.
tickets, okay?
All right.
All right. I intend to buy a few myself. Let's see. I'd like to recognize Post 312 that got so torn up by the hurricanes. Anyone that would like to donate to help them rebuild, I'm sure it would be greatly appreciated. Their insurance doesn't even come close to covering the cost of their damage.
You know, I knew a lot about them. I know Bill Brzezinski.
Yes.
And I just interviewed on Chat with Pat, Terry Cheney, the
Okay.
financial director,
Mhm.
because Backpack Angels we've had our meetings there.
Yes. Yes.
Because during COVID, we were meeting in the park and
Exactly.
they took pity on us, and for free, they've let us meet there for the couple of years. So we've been trying to organize things to help them out. And I
Okay.
understand, hopefully, they're going to be open by probably the middle or end of January.
We're hoping so. We're
Yeah.
hoping so. They've put in,
Yeah,
from what I
it's great the
understand,
way
they've-
you're all working together.
from what I
because they've
understand, they
talked
put in
about
a
that.
permit to put up a partial wall
Yeah,
while the other is
Yeah.
being repaired. And if that gets approved, then they'll be able to open earlier.
I think it's wonderful the way all the veterans and everybody been working together
It
at
is.
different
It
posts.
is.
really
It
is
is.
special.
We've really became close with Post 777 out in Inglewood. Terry out there and Cindy Muxlow were the muscles behind the applications for the disaster fund.
Yeah,
Terry wrote all the checks, actually. So they've been very busy,
That's
very
amazing.
busy. We have a lot of fun times there. We have, as I mentioned, karaoke on Monday nights and Thursday nights. We have Dilly Dilly, which is a game that's really everybody has a lot of fun with. That's on Tuesday nights. Ladies' night is on Wednesday. And you'll find out if you visit us why our slogan says, "We are the fun post," because we really are the fun post
is.
here.
very friendly, extremely friendly.
Now, for the children's party, we've raised thousands of dollars in donations.
That's awesome.
It is. The Sons of AmVets, they put in $500. That's Ray Worley. He's their commander. Our post put in $800. Okay, the ladies auxiliary is doing all the shopping and doing all the wrapping of the gifts. I can't read my own writing, but someone gave $1,200 here.
I swore I was supposed to be a doctor because I cannot read my own writing.
Yes, yes. But, you know, we're going to have surplus money left over, I do believe. and we'll use that for other worthy projects in our community. We believe in giving back to the community.
You have a lot of dinners going on there too, don't you?
We do.
I remember read something about a spaghetti dinner, which
Yes,
fascinated me.
yes. The Ladies Auxiliary puts on dinners at times. The Sons put on dinners. Now the AMVETs, they're self-governing. They're part of our group, but they've got their own,
Right.
like Regina Sheets is the president of the Ladies Auxiliary. Ray Worley, we call him Mike, by the way. He's the commander of the Sons. I should mention our own commander, which is Ronald Cleary. He does a great job for us. There's a few special people I'd like to mention too. Again, I've got to look at my own writing here. I put this in small letters, so it's bad. Ricky Ballou and Patrick Holcomb. These guys are so special, the things they do. When my wife became ill with ALS, they delivered a $12,000 wheelchair to my house for my wife. This thing was incredible. It had headlights, turn signals, horns, the whole works. That's what they do. They help the veterans with whatever they can do. Some other special people I'd like to mention is that did so much for our post is
While he's reading his writing, I'm going to go back for a moment because he brought up his wife who unfortunately passed away from ALS. And Joanne Carroll was a very special woman within this community who loved to give of herself. It's no matter what project we were working on from when all else fails, I could call Joanne and be like, hey, I need your help. She showed up. She sat up at our office and I watched this woman in extreme, excruciating pain.
yes.
To the point to where I'd go to her and say, you don't have to be here. We love that you're here, but it's at this point you're struggling to walk because the pain is so unreal. And she would refuse to leave us. So if you talk about a volunteer hero, Joanne was one of those people that, God rest her soul, just showed up and did. I watched that woman dress girls during our prom. With when all else fails, we hosted prom
Right.
during COVID.
I recall it.
And
Hijacked prom.
hijacked prom.
Yeah.
And Joanne showed up at our glam boutique, and it wasn't just girls trying on outfits, but it was her playing dress up from head to toe with these girls. And it was the jewelry and the shoes. And I've never watched somebody just be so happy to just sit and dress people, but to be so miserably in pain at the same time. And she worked really hard to hide it. So if you are on here and you are listening, please check out the ALS Facebook page. There is ALS research programs out there that you can donate to. It is Giving Tuesday. The whole reason of what brings us here is to donate to the organizations that you believe in, whether it's time, talent, or treasure. We want you to be a part of it. So for those of you guys that don't know what ALS is, it is a condition that affects you relatively quickly. A lot of people go paralyzed very, very fast. They lose the ability to speak. They can lose the ability to swallow. There are so many different side effects that go along with ALS. But Joanne was diagnosed and passed away in about 3.5 months from beginning to end?
Just short of 4 months. At the end, she couldn't even swallow water. She was an angel. She was an angel sent straight from heaven. Fantastic wife. Like you said, she volunteered for anything she could, anywhere she could.
And she cooked. She loved to cook.
Oh, yes. Fantastic cook. Yes.
This man liked to share the pictures of the dessert she made, but never thought to drive one to my house. I'm still a little upset over this. Not that it's going to change anything, but yeah, it might have been a gluttonous act on his part. I'm just saying. But please feel free to donate, whether it's to AMVETS Post 2000. If you guys are interested in making a donation, bring it right on down to the post over on Ortiz Boulevard. They're on the right-hand side coming down from 41. You really can't miss them. Stop in, drop off a check, drop off $5. Drop off $10, bring them 5,000, whatever
Right,
it is that you
right,
choose to
right.
give. But that $5 of you walking in, you'll probably give a little bit more by the time you leave and you realize what they do.
Yes.
Their men's club, you guys were giving out stuffed animals a few years ago for kids
Yes.
in need, which is pretty cool.
We still have some very large ones to give away this year.
Yeah.
I mean, huge ones.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, it's AMVETS is always doing something out there. And what's amazing is we think of these organizations as just a veterans club, but it's so much more than that. The people that are a part of these groups, whether it's the AMVETS, the American Legion, the VFW, it's about camaraderie, it's about friendship,
Yes.
it's about fellowship, but it's also about giving back, and it's about being a part of your community. And I mean, you guys are involved in the parade, you're involved in different functions throughout the city. Anytime When All Else Fails calls them, they normally are very quick to jump in. I'm still going to get 50,000 out of them one of these days. They've already told me no. I'm not done yet. He said there's going to be some surplus money left over. It doesn't have to be 50 grand. I'll take 3,000 for drywall. Doesn't hurt my feelings at all. So you bring that surplus money our way. But they're very quick to show up whenever it's needed, and we as a community we overlook them so often.
Yes.
And so please, if you're out there, I know it sounds, what am I going to do at the AMVETS? I'm going as a guest, I'm not even a veteran. I don't care that you're not a veteran. I care that you stop by, have a dinner, have a lunch, have
Yes.
breakfast.
Yes.
Spend that $10 that you are going to spend at Applebee's, which is a chain. I'm not knocking you, Applebee's.
No.
Not talking bad about you.
They're
I'm just
a lot less
saying.
expensive than going
Yeah,
to a
for
restaurant,
$5
really.
a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you said for the
that one
cheeseburgers?
hamburger. Yep.
Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. I'm taking leftovers home next
yeah.
Monday for
Yeah.
$25. I can feed the whole family.
Right
That's
there
right.
you go.
We go
Yeah.
there so often. And it's a place where, and I've talked to a lot of the veterans from 312, it's a place where they can gather.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
You know,
Yes,
it's
it
their
is.
meeting place.
Mhm.
What's
Yeah.
your average drink price in there?
Oh, well, it
Full
depends
bar,
on what you're
full bar.
drinking. If you're drinking a mixed drink, I believe the average cost is about $3.
A whole $3.
Okay,
Yeah.
$3.
So hold on a minute. I'm going to stop you because the mixed drink is the most
Well,
expensive
no, wait,
in there, right?
AMVETS 312 had $2 margaritas.
Yes, we have that also.
All right,
All right.
Yep,
$2
yep,
margaritas.
we have
So listen, on Monday, those of y'all that are listening in here, I want you to put it in your calendar. On Monday, you are going to karaoke at the AMVETS. Why do we do it on Monday? Because obviously a bunch of them are retired.
Yes.
But so come out on Monday, bring your $25. That's all you're going to need for the night, $25. You're going to get 2 burgers, you're going to get a handful of drinks, and you're going to
Yep.
leave a decent tip for the bartender.
Absolutely.
Who's there on Mondays?
Liz, on Mondays, it's not Peggy. Her name just went right out of my head.
Yeah, blonde hair.
Yes. Yes.
Denise,
Yeah.
right?
No. Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
He's got some timers, and I have onsets of some timers. So
Yeah.
And Pat, she's with us with
Yeah,
the
I'm just here.
sometimes.
Right.
But it's the group that's in there really is amazing.
Yeah.
So please take the time,
Right.
go and check them out, listen to some music, sing a little bit.
Absolutely. You'll have a great time.
How much is it for a Budweiser? $2?
If it's a draft, it's $2. If it's a bottle, it's $3.
All right. So you
And
can't.
what's the address? What's the address? Where do I go?
Oh yeah, you tell us your address.
Okay, it's 401 Ortiz, just before you get to War Middle Springs. We're like a half a mile off of 41.
So go to the 3 Ladies statue, make the turn going into that complex back there, into that subdivision. You're going to go down about 1.5 miles to 2 miles, and they're on your right hand
Yeah,
side.
not even that. Not even a mile. I
Is
don't
it
think
Yeah,
it's
it's
a mile.
really
Oh, yeah.
close. Yeah.
It just feels like
Yeah, you
forever at
can't
night when
miss
the
it there.
fog
You can
kicks
see
in.
the.
And,
everything's right
Liz Ketzler, she's our canteen manager. She does a fantastic job.
Liz is amazing.
Yes.
Just saying.
I wanted to mention a few of the special people that really do so much for that post.
Yeah.
Harold and Cindy Muxlow. By the way, they were at my house when they heard about my wife. Just wonderful people. Greg and Marilyn Gage, they did a lot of remodeling in there. There's so many. I hope I shouldn't really mention one because there's so many special folks that I might leave out. If I do, I apologize.
It's the sometimers. It made it.
It's the sometimers.
Yeah.
I'd also like to mention a few people who have done so much for this city in general. Elaine Emmerich, Jill Luke, our previous mayor. Vanessa Caruso, she was on the commission back, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Pete Emmerich. These folks have done so much for this city that no one even knows about. It's incredible what they've done. Elaine is involved in the Children's Closet. She's involved with Kiwanis.
When all else fails.
Yeah.
When all else
Helping
fails.
Pretty
hands.
much anything she's involved
Yeah.
with.
Backpack Angels,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
supports
she's
that.
up there, yeah.
We have tremendous folks in this community that really never get recognized.
Yeah.
Sometimes it becomes so political, you don't look at the real person
Right.
and what they have accomplished and what they've
It's
done.
true.
And they all need to be recognized. Our commander, Ronald Clary, he's doing a fantastic job. He's open-minded, he listens. I'm on the e-board there. And I'm one of the officers there, of course. But we can communicate with him and he listens to us and we come up with great things that we feel for the community and for our members.
That's awesome.
And that just about sums it up for me. But again, I want to reiterate, Justin has a campaign going on right now to purchase.
We've got Winterfest coming up. And
drywall.
so, yeah, I'm gonna steal his
You go
thunder
ahead.
for a minute
You
because
go
he
ahead.
brought us up. But my name is Justin Willis. Those of you guys that have joined in and haven't been with us for very long, up here talking to you on WKDW 97.5 and KDW radio.com. You have Pat Petersmark from Backpack Angels and here at WKDW. You said you're going to be how old? You said it a few minutes ago. Tell me again.
I don't remember I said anything.
You
about
did.
that.
You said age a minute when Ernie was on here. You accidentally slipped up and told
No,
your
I
age.
didn't. I said something about older people, and I
Oh,
said
maybe
I
that's
shouldn't-
what it was.
That's what it
shouldn't
was.
say that.
Okay,
Because
so
she was
Pat
younger
is
than me.
Pat is a whole 45, 55 years old.
She's older than I, and I'll be 73.
Okay, so Pat's 74 years old this year, and no joke, this is a woman who is out here supporting your community in ways. I know I was going to talk about when all else fails, but I wanted to remind you guys who was up here. But Pat Petersmark shows up anytime somebody needs somebody. That's number one. Number two, Pat's Petersmark is a part of the Backpack Angel. She shows up to our Homeless to Home luncheon every single month. She is out here beating the drum for the nonprofits, for the communities, for the schools, for every person that will give her what information we want shared. Pat, I've never met somebody who drags their own soapbox with them, no matter where they're at, to climb up on it. And it doesn't even have to be hers that she's beating on. Yeah. It's just somebody whispered in her ear, "Hey, Pat, did you hear about this?" And all of a sudden, she's got a mic in her hand, a platform underneath of her feet, and she's going to give you the greatest lecture, and you're not going to forget who it is she believed in that moment. So truly an amazing person, and we are all thankful for the work that you do.
Well, and just to give you a compliment, I am at the Homeless to Home every month collecting hygiene products, and he and I will take turns with the mic. But Justin is the guy that takes all those and loads my cart. There's too many. I am old. I don't want to carry all the stuff out to the
I walk into Homeless to Home, and I normally see Pat. If those of you guys that can see my head swiveling back and forth, always looking to the door. And no joke, I walk in and she gives me a wave and she says, "I've got 2 bags." And she just points to the ground. And you know that means when you're done, before you leave, come pick up the bags, put them in the blue Honda, and you'll be good to go. If anybody else ever buys a blue Honda and parks it out there, we're all in trouble because I'm going to end up putting stuff in the wrong truck. It's what's
well. Let's talk about the Homeless to Home, because there is a donor that tell us about Homeless to Home.
Absolutely.
That all came together.
So I actually have Ellen Domke.
Oh yeah, Ellen will be coming in.
She will be on at 3:00 with us. And Homeless to Home started several years ago now.
Isn't she on at 2, Justin?
She's actually coming in at 3. Elaine's going to come in at 2. I had it
Okay.
back.
Okay.
Sorry. But Pat and I
It's
have been
about
there.
7 years.
Has it?
Yeah, it's been about 7 years.
We started, you know, the first time I went, I remember it was the very first one. I don't remember how I got the invitation.
Yeah.
And we had no idea what to expect. You thought, here goes another lecture about, you know, homeless intervention and a bunch of people that are going to talk about their solutions that do nothing, because that's normally what we get invited to. And I'm not knocking any of you guys out there that hold these luncheons. I think it's great, but through these luncheons, let's make sure when we leave, we have some form of action plans in play at the end of the conversation. So that way there's change in the world coming from what we're doing.
Yes.
Homeless to Home was that. And it's the craziest thing. We walked in and you go to a country club. First of all, we're representing nonprofits. So we are the poorest of the corporations, the majority of us that are showing up here. There's a lot of large nonprofits that go, but it's a lot of us smaller groups.
Well, you might want to mention too that Janine and Steve Marone, they are philanthropists. And they pay for these lunches.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I wanted to mention.
And Janine is one of the
give back. And for a long time, they wouldn't let their name be known out there. But it's
we're still not supposed to bring up the name, but we're at the point to where we do it now, so we don't.
Janine actually slipped quite a while ago. I had her as a guest on Chat with Pat. And we were talking about this, and I said, well, where does this money come from? And she said, well, me. And then all of it was like,
yeah. Well, now I have to mention, I said I probably left some folks out. I have to mention a tremendous donor to our AmVets Post. Christine Reynolds is on the board for the Logie Foundation, and they give us a fantastic donation every year.
Great.
We can't say enough good about them. They know what we do. They know what we're all about. And they support us.
When All Else Fails was chosen by the King Logie Foundation this year.
Yes, great.
I'm so excited.
Wonderful.
You know, I mean, it's
wonderful.
Most people don't know of the King Logie Foundation, but it was a local person who passed away.
Yes.
Left an endowment, and then asked that the endowment be done by a local to Northport board.
That's correct.
Who gives out the funding. And you put in an application, you tell them why they should believe in you, and they write a check. Backpack Angels has been sponsored by them before too, right? Yeah, so each of the three of us have now
tremendous organization.
Yeah,
it's really
amazing.
That foundation is fantastic. Yes.
Yeah.
And I felt bad that I knew I would leave someone out, so I had to get that in there.
We always do. I've gotten, so I don't mention names per se because I always will leave somebody out.
Well, and there's so many people that support each of our organizations that when we try to call out those donors, whether it's somebody like Janine Marone, it's when we try and call out those donors, it's hard to get every single one of them. So if we don't mention your name, please understand that we feel your love. We appreciate your love. And every single nonprofit is thankful for what you as a donor, whether it's your time, treasure, or talent, for showing up for us. We greatly appreciate you. But Ronnie, you brought up our drywall campaign.
Yes.
So When All Else Fails, in partnership with the Gulf Coast Community Foundation, is working to bring in drywall to Northport. Our goal is to raise about $250,000. We've got a few donations that have come in so far, so we're getting there. Nowhere near what our total is. So if you're out here listening, go to When All Else Fails on Facebook, click that donate button, give whatever you can give. But the drywall that is coming in, our goal is to give it to the families that truly were underinsured, didn't have flood insurance, were hit in those areas. But my wife and I and the kids, we have a lot of damage at our house. But we had a car totaled. There's holes. You can look from my bathroom straight out and see the lights and the stars at night. It's kind of fun. I feel like they should put a skylight there now because I've gotten kind of used to it. But we don't think about what the need is. We can live without carpet. We can honestly live with minimal running water and one bathroom. We can live without a fully functional kitchen because we'll make do. You can use an Instant Pot. You can use an air fryer. You can use whatever it is to be able to get you through minimally. But if you don't have walls up,
Yeah.
It's very hard to
That's-
exist in your
Yes,
house.
it is.
So the goal of the drywall project is to bring in enough drywall for those that need it to be
Is
able
it
to
hard
do.
to get right now? I heard drywall.
It's
was
very hard to get
get.
right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything
And
is.
yeah, absolutely. But we want to bring in drywall screws, mud and tape. And the thought is if you can get 2 rooms of your house enclosed, those families that are right now living 100 miles outside the Northport because it's the only available Airbnbs and hotels,
Yes.
maybe we can get them minimally back home, even if it's only 2 rooms, but at least their home isn't sitting empty.
Right.
At least our kids are not being driven 45 to 100 miles each
get
way
to-
every
right.
day to get to school.
Yeah.
The money that these families are spending in gasoline while they're still having to make their mortgage payments, while they're still having to make their car payments, their insurance. Many of us have gone without work throughout this.
Yes.
And
Right,
it
yeah.
just, that drywall gets expensive. It costs $250 for 15 sheets of drywall. And when you think of that, I know as I say $250, there are those of you that are listening that's like, oh, $250, that's not nothing. Every one of you that thought that, click that donate button, donate $250.
There you
When
go.
all else fails, it's
Yeah.
right on there. You can
Yeah.
Venmo me money. It's when all else fails on Venmo, go to our website, waef.info. You can donate in any of those ways, especially if you said, oh, only $250. Put that $250 in there because you just helped a family.
Absolutely.
One entire family be able to move back into their home. So it's something that it seems so big to want to take that on, but it's something so little because
It has to be
we
done.
may only be able to do 100 families and we didn't even scratch the surface. You have neighborhoods like McKibben Park that
Yeah.
are completely devastated. And with the 50-50 rule, they have to figure out which of these homes can build. So on that note, if you are in one of those areas where you are dealing with the FEMA 50-50 rule, where if it costs more than 50% of your county appraised value to rebuild your home or to fix your home, they would rather you rebuild it. Please, and I know that this is going to sound terrible, but go down to the property appraisers. Ask for a reevaluation of your home. If you have been living in Northport, you've been homesteaded for 30 years, you've owned your house outright, you don't want your taxes to go up. So you've left your assessment sit.
Yes.
And right now you're being assessed somewhere between $70,000 and $120,000. That's only gone up 3% per year. If you're homesteaded and your assessment's sitting at 110, you're only being taxed on 50,000. Your house may be worth $300,000, but because you're homesteaded, they couldn't increase that assessment. Now, there is a drawback and a negative that comes from this because
did
when you
not know
go
that.
into the property appraiser and you ask for that reassessment, you're going to pay taxes on the new assessed value. But it may keep you from having to demolish your home. So you have to decide which one is more important.
Right.
Right.
Do you continue paying $1,345 a year in taxes?
Yeah.
And there are some in McKibben Park that are truly taxed that low
right.
for their entire tax bill.
Yeah.
Your tax bill may be $3,300 next year homesteaded because now you're going to be taxed on the real value of your home.
Yeah.
But it gives you a way around that 50-50 rule because now you're at the actual assessed value of your property.
Absolutely. Now,
So-
speaking of taxes, tomorrow's your last day. If you want to save $100 on your tax bill, if you pay it by the end of this month, you'll save $100 rather than waiting until March. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was my first stop this morning.
Yeah.
And those of you guys that are retired veterans, please make sure that you reach out to your tax collector and find out if there are any additional homestead exemptions that you qualify for that you might not already have in place. Again, I don't work for the property appraiser, but I have a client whose husband was a disabled veteran, and their tax bracket that they're in on their house, they have acreage, and they pay less than the Emriches pay at their house over in Highland Ridge.
And
So it's
as a general
worth.
rule, a disabled veteran pays no property taxes if he's 100% disabled.
You pay a portion of ad valorem, it goes to the city, the county, and a
Yes.
Yeah.
deducted portion to the school board.
Right, right. Speaking of school board,
We're going to skip that topic. We're going to skip that topic.
No,
Unless you're going to say something really, really good about our school board. We're skipping that
I think I'm going to.
Okay.
A few years back, Justin ran for school board, and he was unsuccessful in that race.
Yep.
I
was the greatest loser out of the group.
I would love to see this man run again, and I encourage everyone.
would
He has
too.
5 children. He's a fantastic family man. He knows what children need. He would be absolutely fantastic on that
He'd be
school board.
great.
Yeah,
Right.
I appreciate that, but I have to tell
manage your campaign.
you could, but it's show me the money, bring the money to the table, and we'll talk about a commission seat. But it's show me the money. But it realistically, I was the greatest loser in our race, and saying that today has to be the greatest sense of relief that I feel, because the abuse that has gone on over the last few years with our school board, it is absolutely mind-blowing and baffling.
It is.
It's one of those professions that you run for office to get elected to represent the children. Number 1,
Right.
The teachers, number 2, the families, number 3, the taxpayers, number 4, and not in that order, but those are the 4 groups that you run to represent.
Yes.
And in today's political atmosphere, those are the 4 people minus the children who are abusing you the most.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter which way the decision went. If they made a decision that was best for the majority of the children, there was still this large group that complained. If they made a decision that is bringing in money for the school district and we're doing great, there's still going to be groups that complain and abuse. And what's even worse is they showed up at these school members' homes and protested and made threats to them, whether they were Republican or Democrat.
Made no
And that
difference.
shouldn't even matter,
No,
because when you
not
sit
at
on
all.
that school board, you are there to represent our children,
That's right.
to make their education better. And please, get your politics out of my children's education.
Absolutely.
We don't need the distraction. We want you to lead policy that does the best for our children,
Yes.
that allows our children to be educated,
Yeah.
that allows children leaving the 3rd grade to be proficient in reading and knowing that they can make it in what they're going to do. It's our job to make sure that these high schoolers have a plan as they're leaving there. But at the same time, it's our job to work with your teachers, to work with your children's school administrators, and be active. Instead of abusing them, show up and read a book to these children. Instead of abusing them, show up and feed lunch to these kids. Instead of abusing them, walk into a classroom and ask a teacher what they had to buy out of their paycheck to make sure that your children are getting the proper education. And I apologize, but I just stole Pat Peters-Mark's soapbox and climbed up on it and double stacked it, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to run from this topic because I get a little bit overly passionate whenever it comes to the school board.
I have something to say about that, because Giving Tuesday actually addresses this. It's when so much attention is given to what divides us. Generosity brings people together across races, faiths, and political views. And Giving Tuesday, take what gifts you do have and use them to the best of your ability. So what you're talking about is those political views have divided us because people are using them. And if a person is passionate about, like the school board or what's happening in the schools, take the political out of it, really.
And the whole thing is
Exactly.
elected. That's what you're supposed to do. Once you are elected, you are the representative of the mass, not the donors, not just the people that voted for you, but it's every single one of us. And it's bringing those differences in political opinions. We don't have to get along. Trust me, Ronnie and I have been friends for a while now. There are things that we disagree on, but we hear each other.
Yes.
We grow from it,
Yes.
and we absorb the information, and that's what it's
That's
about.
right. Yeah.
Pat, you and I have disagreed,
Oh, I know.
but we've
We
never
don't-
not been friends over it.
Right.
At the end of the day, I think it makes us stronger
Yeah, I
that
do
we
too.
disagree.
It does.
And we now have,
that's what adults do.
yeah, we have Elaine Emmerich who has walked into the room with us. She's
Yes.
sitting over here quietly, but Elaine will tell you, her and I, we have had disagreements in our 25 plus years of being friends that we have disagreed agreed and gone toe to toe on opposite ends. But at the end of it, we know
still
the
friends.
next day we're
Yeah.
still going to be there. And
Yeah.
what's
Right.
even worse, there are things that she'll call me about that I'm like, dude, I do not support this. And she's like, I didn't ask if you support it. I asked you for help. And I'm like, all right, you're right. Like, okay, I'll be there in 27 freaking minutes. But it's, you know, it's that difference in thought
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what allows us to grow. And
Yes, yes.
it's being a leader in a community doesn't necessarily mean that you're donating money. It doesn't
Right.
necessarily always mean that you're donating time, but it could mean that you're donating connections. Who are you connected
Yeah.
with that I don't know?
Yeah.
And how can it make my organization grow
Yeah.
better?
Mhm.
Who can I get financing
Yeah.
from that you didn't know before that I can help you
Right.
with?
Yeah.
And when you need help with people,
Who do you?
who can we get
Yeah.
there to show up? And that's what's so amazing is after the hurricane, when we needed help and we called and said, hey, I need bodies.
Yeah.
We've got food to hand out and I need cars to move it and I don't know where
Yeah.
to get to.
Mhm.
We had dozens of locations set
Yeah.
up that would accept the food from us
There's a lot of
overnight.
networking.
And what's even more is there are people who stepped up
Yeah.
that I don't even consider my friend.
Yeah.
And yet they showed up
No,
whenever
no.
it mattered most.
Yep.
So for those of you that are out there,
Yeah.
if you're listening, I know that we don't always get along, but I appreciate what you did during the hurricane
Yeah.
because that's what matters.
Yep.
And
Yeah, it
one
is.
of the things that I tell people all the time, Northport is such an amazing city.
It is.
All right.
It is.
We are great
Yeah.
at tearing each other
Yeah.
down.
Mhm.
We are great at building each other up. But when there is a disaster,
Yeah.
we have no other mindset in this city other than connected.
Absolutely.
And what I mean by that is
Helping.
when something happens, I want y'all, you've been here for years and years.
Over 20 years.
Okay,
yeah.
so you remember when Coral
Right.
Rose
Yeah.
passed away
Yeah.
and it was this whole thing.
Yeah.
You had people that showed up out of their house
Yeah.
to look for her.
Yeah.
When Denise Amber-Lee passed
Yeah.
away, people drove out of their home. We're telling
Right.
them to stay away
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
dogs are trying to do things.
Yeah.
Forget you, we're not staying
Yeah.
away. We're going to look.
Yeah.
Right.
When a senior goes
Yes.
missing from the local
Yes.
nursing home,
Yeah.
is walking
Mhm.
down the street,
Yeah.
people are waking up at 2:30 in the morning to show up and look
To
for
go
them.
look. Yeah.
And when you have a hurricane that hits, whether
Yeah.
it was Hurricane Charlie
Yeah.
or again during Ian,
Yeah.
this community steps up like I have never seen. Whether
Northport
it's
strong, they say.
yeah, and it's we
Northport
truly
strong.
are Northport strong.
Yeah.
So those of y'all that are listening that forget what we're like during a disaster and go back to the normal way of bickering and complaining and griping, remember how strong we really are
Yeah.
because it matters. Remember that whenever you're complaining about what your neighbor did. And maybe the reason why their fence looks as crappy as it does before you went to social media, knock on the door. Ask them, hey, are you feeling okay? I noticed your fence is growing mildew on it. I've never been like this before, and this really isn't the way that you do things, but are you okay? Instead of writing a nasty letter that says, hey, jerk, clean your
Yeah,
fence,
right,
Yeah.
right.
just ask
Do
them,
that.
are you
Absolutely.
okay?
Yeah.
And that carries on with what
Yeah.
Giving Tuesday is.
Yeah.
If you're listening today and you're sitting here thinking, man, all these people asking for money and I don't have a dollar to give, knock on the door next door and just ask, are you okay? Are you okay today?
Mhm.
We did it during COVID. We did it after the hurricane. And now that it's been past 60 days, don't forget that that's who we as a community are. We are the people who will knock on the door next door. We are the people who will buy an extra gallon of milk because we know Susie down the road has gone
Might
without
need
it and
yeah.
she's got a new baby.
Yes.
Make those stops and call out to them because that's what today is about, even though every single day should be
Right.
about this.
Yes.
I would say that's a good point, to continue on the way we were,
Yeah.
helping everybody.
And,
No.
and it's all along Southwest Florida too.
Yeah.
All the communities that are hit and ravaged by Hurricane Ian and trying to rebuild. I know people that are down in the Fort Myers area, down in Naples, down in Bonita Springs. How their communities are coming together. One of the things that we did see, though, happen is people that were devastated. In fact, I have somebody that was with a radio station got a message from one of his friends and asked if he could go check on his mother that was down in North Fort Myers. They hadn't heard from her. So he got it, and he had his stuff destroyed. He got in his vehicle, went down to see her, see her, and she hadn't come out of her house. They had to break down barriers to get in to get her, and that shows that check on your neighbor. How many people died through this? Quite a few, over 100 and some, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're still looking for people that are still missing. There's people out there that are hurting that could use your hand or a friendly smile, or just saying, are you, like you said, Justin, are you doing okay? Is everything okay for you? Because it's not for many people right now. And we come in as Northport is the youngest place around.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the average age of people living there in Charlotte County, we're 60 some years old is the average age. And as you go down into Fort Myers, they're a little bit lower than us, but we're a lot of seniors in this area, and many of them are shut-ins, right, Pat?
Right.
Yeah, so with the AMVET, yeah, go ahead and talk, guys.
Well, before we talk anymore, Ronnie, I've had you on here for about 35 minutes now.
Okay.
Elaine is here, but
Yes.
before you get going,
Okay.
tell us the AMVET Post 2000. Tell us your address again.
Okay. The address is 401 Ortiz, just before you get down to Warren Mineral Springs, just off of 41. Stop in and spend some time with us. I encourage you to become a member if you can. Dues are very low, and you become part of a great brotherhood there, and you'll never be alone. We all support each other. I want to thank all of the Veterans Post, not just ours, but all of them. We all do good things. Of course, I'm sort of leading to my own. But you will have a great time. Come down Tuesday night for Dilly Dilly. They do a fantastic job. You could even win some money, and you have a good time too. And karaoke Monday and Thursday.
You don't even have to sing good, because
No.
if you drink enough, nobody can hear what you sound like
It's-
anyway.
It's all about fun. That's all part of the fun. There's no such thing as a bad singer.
Yeah, right.
It's all fun.
Right.
Um,
And you're
he has
on
heard me sing.
Facebook. I'd say you're on Facebook, and I know they
Yes,
publish
we are.
even the menu.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
We
So-
do. We
Check
do.
out AMVET's Post 2000 on
Mhm.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Do you guys have your donate button active?
I don't know if we do or not. I'm gonna have to check.
All right, you're gonna have to look into that.
Yeah,
Marie,
yeah.
can you look up for us real fast? AMVET's Post 2000. See if their donate button is active.
Okay.
But find them online, please. Like I said, if you're listening to this, if you're hearing us out there, plan a Monday, go in for the burger night.
Yes.
$25 will give you a good time for several hours over there at the
Absolutely.
AMVETs. It's not a lot to spend. You're going to spend that on one meal at somewhere like Applebee's. Again, not picking on you, just picking on your prices.
Yep. And you gain
But-
a family with it too.
Right.
Yeah.
We're family.
Very friendly.
We're not just friends.
Yeah.
We're family.
Exactly.
And we
Yeah.
take care of each other. We check on each other,
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I'd like to thank certain key people because my time is up here now. But
He
Our
feels
commander-
rushed.
our commander, Ronald Cleary, Harold and Cindy Muxlow, Liz Ketzler, my entire e-board, all of this, everyone worked so hard to keep this place moving. Regina, you do a fantastic job with the ladies. Mike, you've really done a fantastic job with the sons. Things have really, really been happening since you've taken over. But we all work together. That's what it's all about. Again, Post 77, thank you so much. 312.
Yeah, what's your Facebook page again?
AMVETs 2000.
The
Oh,
fun post.
The fun post. The fun post.
Yes.
Okay,
It's under AMVETs 2000 on
it's
there.
a private post.
Oh, okay.
It's not public.
So,
You have
Marie, what I would like to do is I'd love to get you set up with Ronnie, so that way you can teach them how to get that donate button on
Right.
there. I know it took me almost a year and a half to get through it because of the banking requirement,
Oh, right, because you have to have them.
the right address, the bank
Mhm.
statement, and But Marie can teach you how to get through that.
Wonderful,
And
wonderful.
for people to be able to just click that donate button, what's
Yes.
cool is whenever one of your members has a birthday,
Mhm.
they can click on AMVETS Post 2000,
Okay.
and any donations that go to that go to you guys at $0
Oh,
cost.
wonderful.
And it's
So-
it's easy to use.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Marie set Backpack Angels up with the donate button.
Yep.
We had a problem getting it
Oh,
set up.
wonderful.
Yeah.
You go on there and you just click donate.
Yep.
Well,
And Marie,
It comes with it. It's no fees. There are no fees. Once you're registered correctly as a nonprofit, Facebook, that's their way of giving back.
and also PayPal, who is in charge of Venmo, they now have the charity section
Yeah.
for PayPal,
Okay.
but they also have it for Venmo, where you can get direct donations right from like digital transfers, like you would do with Cash App, Venmo,
Yeah.
Okay.
Zelle, any of those kinds
Oh,
of
wonderful,
programs.
wonderful.
There's now nonprofit sections in Venmo.
Yeah.
And what's cool is Venmo, they will, within your area, depending on how many nonprofits are in there,
Right,
they
right.
pick and showcase one.
Oh, okay.
And you never know who they're going to get. You can't buy your way into the
Right,
showcase.
okay.
You just happen to fall into Venmo. And when you open Venmo, every once in a while, you'll see a nonprofit. It'll tell you about them. When All Else Fails got featured, I think yesterday or the day before. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But people, all of a sudden, you just start getting beeps and Venmo's
That's
sending
great.
you money.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Well,
Hey.
speaking of birthdays, mine is January 4. I'll be 83, and I'm not going to have any more after that.
Oh, well, listen,
Well,
Pat
we'll
is
have a party.
47, and apparently she hasn't had any more birthdays either. So this is a thing that's
Yeah, we'll have
happening.
a birthday party.
Yeah. A non-birthday party.
There you
That's
go.
what I'm looking
There you
for.
go.
Should we do that as a group, or does that still get held on your actual birthday? Because if you're having non-birthday parties, you can't hold it on your birthday.
That's
Yeah,
true,
this
isn't
is true.
it?
This
Yeah.
is very true. Yeah.
And now, folks, it is open to the public on Sundays for our breakfast. Any member can sign you in if you like to join with us for some of our fun things while you decide if you want to become a member, okay?
What do I have
Can
to
you
do?
show up like we see the menu? Can we just show up for dinner sometime? and
You
we're
can,
not
but
a
again,
member?
if you're not a member, you're going to have a member sign you in.
Yeah.
Can I
okay?
order takeout?
You sure can.
Do you have to be a member to order takeout?
No, you do not.
Y'all heard that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. you can order-
Cheeseburgers, Mondays,
Right.
$5 cheeseburgers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even though it's to go and you're not staying to play, at least you're supporting the local.
Yeah. And there's
AMVETS
always
folks,
somebody
so.
there that will sign you up. That's why I
Heck yeah.
asked, because I have
How much does it cost to become a member of the AMVETS?
$35 a year.
$35 a
Yep.
year.
And you have to either be a veteran, been married to a veteran, have a veteran. in
Or
your
you could
family.
have,
I know this.
if you have any veteran in your family,
Yeah.
you can become a member of the Sons or a member of the Ladies Auxiliary, whichever one you chose. Well, obviously, the ladies would go with Ladies Auxiliary. And the Sons would go with the Sons. But, you know, if you had an uncle or a grandfather or anyone who served in the military,
Yeah.
you just have to show the DD 213, you know.
That's how I became a member of the American Legion.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
it's pretty easy to do. Do you know what time do you have Backpack Angels scheduled for? Just out of curiosity.
You can talk anytime you're ready.
No. No, only because one of the original members I know was not home earlier, but she might want to run up here later on. But
Can she be here about 3:30?
probably.
Or if either
But I'll just
3:30 or
talk- I'll
4:30?
just talk for her.
Okay.
William English, thank you for watching, because I know you've been watching most of today's feed. He's saying room full of community blessings, MPU.
It's in Northport United. So
Okay.
right now, one of the big pushes of the city from our city manager is Northport United. And it's one of the greatest things that I've seen one of our city managers do, because it's not just about it's uses the word Northport United, but it's the unity of our city and our community as a whole. It's hopefully bridging, the relationship
Yeah,
between
yeah.
the two parts of
Yeah.
the city that have been having some struggles.
Okay.
But it's so much more than that. It's reminding neighbors that we are a united front,
Yeah.
that we are a collective body. And when we work collectively, we can get real things done.
Yes, we
Right.
But
can.
when you work as an individual who has to knock the air out from the person beside you so you shine a little bit brighter,
Mhm.
it really isn't building our
No.
community.
Right,
So
right.
Chuck is William English, amazing guy. Chuck has been doing for our community. He is definitely one of When All Else Fails unsung heroes that we greatly appreciate him.
Okay, one other thing I should have mentioned, I'm on the ad hoc committee for our new Veterans Post, or Veterans Park at City Hall. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be a real work of art. I think everyone should visit there when it gets built.
I can't wait to see it.
Yes, it's Field of Honor is what we're calling it.
That's awesome.
Okay,
That's
that's the
great.
name of it. Post 2000 is donating the flagpole for the American flag.
Oh,
by the way.
wonderful.
Okay, yes, yeah, we did that right at the outset at the beginning. So again, I want to thank everyone. One person I should have mentioned, and I did not, because I was honoring some folks that have done so much for the city. I'm confident that our new mayor, Barbara,
Langdon.
will do the same, you know.
Yeah, she will.
Everyone works hard for this city. Sometimes people don't understand what's going on, but it comes down to a matter of money. You can only do what you can do when you have the funds to do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, and they do a great job of trying to hold our taxes down while we do the basic things
Yeah.
that we need. Okay, War Middle Springs is undergoing, all being reworked. We've, I think, entered into a private or partnership
Right,
kind of a
just
thing.
recently. Yeah.
Yes, to help hold our costs down.
Yeah.
All those things make sense.
Yes, it does.
Okay, yeah.
It does. Barbara Langdon is actually going to be my guest this week on Chat with
Oh,
Pat.
wonderful,
Nice.
wonderful, wonderful. Yes.
Don't forget to ask her about When All Else Fails while she's on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's one of our board
I
members.
know, it's,
Yeah.
we talked about that. We kind of intermingle all the different groups.
Yeah,
together.
right. Yeah.
Elaine, are you ready back there?
I'm gonna let Pat start talking about Backpack
Oh,
Angels.
okay.
Elaine is on the phone, so
Gotcha.
we're gonna let her
Okay.
keep talking. We're gonna have Pat start highlighting on. Tell us, what is Backpack Angels? Thank you, Ronnie, for being with us.
Okay,
We
and
greatly
Pat,
appreciate it.
my community, Talon Bay, we support you too.
I know Marge Fitchley and
Yes.
and a lot of them from there. And actually, Marge has been putting things in the Talon Bay paper,
Yes.
although I guess just recently you lost your editor,
Mhm.
about Backpack Angels. So you've
Yes.
been a tremendous help.
We have,
And at our last fashion show that Backpack Angels had, I think there was like 35 women from Talon Bay showed up.
Yes,
It was
yes.
tremendous.
yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, which
They're a
is
strong
great.
supporter there.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah, that's great.
Well, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to WKDW 97.5. I'm giving you guys a break so you can do the switch out.
Thank you much.
But yeah, you're welcome.
Again, you folks come visit Post 2000.
Yes, sir.
You'll have a great time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they do such great work. And I want to let the audience know too why our focus is on Northport. Our radio station is in Northport.
Yes.
And we actually are the Giving Tuesday Southwest Florida head of it for the community. And I've been rethinking that we should really be, yeah, you can go ahead and leave, Ron, and making things.
We
Continue
appreciate
with
you,
all the
buddy.
great things you do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Justin, I'll take you off screen right now. That way I can talk. Anyhow, the reason that we do Giving Tuesday Southwest Florida, we started it and we try to spread it both south and north, but mainly on the north half of Southwest Florida. And we found that it's actually a pretty tremendous undertaking to do that. And we're volunteers. It's pretty much me and Justin doing most of it and John helping. And it's not that, just remember, Giving Tuesday is a movement. It's not about money. It's about taking your time, talents, and treasures and doing what you can within your community. And one of the things that we do within our community is if you have a neighbor next door and you see the need, whether you're a little child or an octogenarian, if there's a way that you can help them, or if you're in a line at a grocery store and you see somebody struggling, or pay it forward if you're in the Starbucks line and somebody's behind you, or in the McDonald's or whatever. If you have the means to do it, pay it forward. You never know whose life that you touch just by a kind look, a smile, or just by being kind. one act of kindness can change a person. In fact, I will bring Justin back up on screen. I think they're ready to come on with us. Are you there, Justin?
We're here
You are there.
on location in Common Grounds.
Woohoo!
Yes, you are. And I do want to talk about that. You have Elaine in the room. She's kind of dark in the corner there.
She's a little dark in the corner.
Elaine, come on up into the
It's that time.
She's a newspaper reporter for a living.
Elaine,
So she's usually not in the print that you get to see her. She doesn't do TV. And actually, this is radio too, but we stream it. In case you are tuning in and you're listening on radio, you can go to our Facebook page, WKDW 97.5 FM, our YouTube page, same numbers, and also our Twitter page. Also, you can go to the Giving Tuesday SWFL Facebook page and be watching us live and live with KDWradio.com. And then if you're a friend of mine, you can go to my personal pages, YouTube and Facebook. So thank you all for tuning in. And we have Elaine Emmerich here today, who is actually, boy, your lighting is really bad there.
I'm trying to make it better. I'm trying.
She just needs to sit up, man.
Trying.
Get into Elaine, come into the light. Come into the light.
I'm right here.
Yeah. So Justin, go ahead and introduce Elaine.
Absolutely. So Elaine Allen Emmerich, those of you guys who read the Sun newspapers, Elaine is one of your reporters with the Sun. You've been around for going on 30 years, a little over 30 years, right?
1989.
Wow.
Is that when we had paper girls and boys that delivered?
Yeah.
That was before the internet.
When we actually rode bikes with a handful of
Right.
and threw them in the yards. Yeah. Yeah.
I learned about the internet in the Old World parking lot. They were like, "There's a World Wide Web," and I was like, "What is that?" And
That's crazy.
I started talking about it.
Did you write an article about it then?
No, they handed us a new type of computer, and they were like, "Here, it's going to connect to other places." And
Do you remember when you had the Apple Macs on your desk?
Yeah.
And they came in colors?
yeah,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time in the newspaper office for some reason. I don't know why, but
Was it the principal's office at the time?
right.
Yeah.
Listen, it's the crazy thing is we were a true local newspaper. And I'm sorry I used the word "were," but it was the place where you would sit in an office to hear the gossip that didn't make it in the paper. So if you could blend into the corner, there was nothing you didn't hear about because everybody went into the newspaper to tell about something, whether it was their neighbor's fence, whether it was a commissioner making ridiculous comments, whether it was an organization doing something fun, whether it was Buddy Hughes and her 200-pound Great Dane walking into the front door. It didn't matter. There was always something going on in the newspaper. I'm pretty sure I once let a squirrel go inside of the newspaper.
You know what's funny about
Probably
the
I did.
North
It
Port
really did
Sun
happen.
office is now where you go to vote. So I always go to where my very messy desk was to vote. And I just, I look around and I go, it's so much cleaner than it ever was.
The Sun start here in Northport.
Oh, I believe it was either just before Gene Matthews. There was another gentleman who,
The Northport Times,
who-
right?
Yeah, but like we were connected with St. Petersburg, and they helped us get a newspaper out because it wasn't always Sarasota; it was Manatee, Sarasota, and so you could only get your news through St. Petersburg. And then Gene came along, and he really helped, create a newspaper. And then Derek Dunrankin. He had the Venice Gondolier, and he started the Sun in Northport, Englewood, Port Charlotte.
So the Matthews had
and DeSoto.
a newspaper before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they were.
You haven't listened to my history show. I have a history show with Joan Morgan of the timeline of the history of Northport.
Right.
She was who I was on the phone with, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Well, listen, so Elaine is the president of Kiwanis. She is the vice president of When All Else Fails. She is the secretary for the Friends of the Northport Library. You are the secretary for Helping Hands. I'm missing. She's part of CHAT, Community Health Assessment Team. She comes to every homeless to home meeting.
That's enough.
There's a few other organizations I feel like you sit on.
Well, what about the clothes closet?
Oh, so
yeah.
Tell us about the children's community clothes closet. How did that get started? Let's not talk about what it is right at this moment. Let's talk about where it got started.
But it is going to reopen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So Lynn Van Fleet owned Northport Printing in Northport on Trot Circle. And she was friends with Trudy Musgrove. And Trudy came over to Lynn and said, there are kids at Glen Allen Elementary School with torn sneakers. You can see their toes through them. Kids don't have on underwear. And Lynn was like taken back by that. She's like, absolutely not. So there was a warehouse behind Northport Printing, and we started gathering clothing. And my biggest memory is a girl drove up and she just was crying. And I was like, what's wrong? And she said, I need diapers. And we didn't quite have diapers yet for the children's closet. And I went in my car, my Ford Tempo, which I hated. And I found some of Cheyenne's diapers. She was about 3 or 4 months old. And I gave her the diapers. And I thought, wow, people, listen, there was like 22,000 people here.
Yeah.
And they have needs. And they probably won't go away. And sure enough, 30 years later,
Wow.
it's solid, meaning that we still give away 5 pairs of brand new underwear, 5 pairs of socks. And it's, you do that because there's 5 school days in a week. And you want to make sure that a child is not going to school in their dad's sneakers.
Right.
Because they can't participate in gym.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that that child who goes to school and wets themselves accidentally or has any other kind of accident, that they do not sit in the school nurse's office all day. You get them cleaned up, you get them new underwear, and you get them right back to class, and it's normal. It's not crazy. But I will tell you a crazy story. The year before COVID, whenever the heck that was, I get a phone call from, I'll just say one of the schools. And they said, do you have used little boys' underwear? And I started laughing. I was like, no, I'll give you new underwear.
No.
And she said, no, I need used boys' underwear. And I said, for what? And she said, I have a family who has chosen to go in a van and live all over the United States, and they never potty trained their child. He is 5 years old. He's at our school, and he pees all the time. And it's not part of our job description. We want the mom to sit in class with this child and help work with this child. But in the meantime, if you could give us some underwear, that would help. And so it's not just a normal everyday thing.
Yeah.
There's just
You
these
don't expect that.
amazing stories. And then, you'll get somebody who comes into the children's closet and they need so much more.
Yeah.
We had a woman whose husband, they were in the middle of a divorce, and he just locked up the house and wouldn't let her have bedding, wouldn't let her have clothing. By the time this woman left, she even had a cookie jar from us. Yeah. She had everything she needed to outfit an apartment because.
And this is all free.
Oh yeah, that's
It's all free.
But I have to tell you this. This is how fate works for us, the Kiwanis Club, and When All Else Fails, and the city of Northport. So we have this partnership with the city of Northport where they own the building and we operate the children's closet. We always have. Zuma Solero worked with Lynn Van Fleet and Trudy Musgrove, and then it's been ever since. And so we understood that the city commission might want to raise those buildings. They're amongst the oldest in the fleet of the city's like 50 buildings. But we also understood there would be a place for us. And Jerome Fletcher absolutely made sure there was. So he had a portable brought in. And the bottom line was we were to get all of the clothing out of the old building and into the new portable. And we were going to open on October 1st.
Yeah, right.
And so October 28th came, or September 28th came, and wrecked, seriously, it blew a hole in the roof. And I had just bought new shoes for teenagers from Restore Global, which is, because we wanted to like open with new stuff.
Yeah. Tell us what Restore Global is.
Restore Global, we learned through going to the homeless to home meetings, where they're like the overstock.com of different items. You never know what you're going to get, but they work with all nonprofits. And so you can get items for much cheaper than you can in the store or in bulk. And they're just right up there, Sarasota Bradenton line. They work with you like every single Tuesday. There's something new to offer. It's amazing. And so I went online on a Tuesday, and I had ordered different boots that I thought kids would like. Their homecoming was coming up, so I ordered high heels for the girls, and didn't spend a lot of money, but knew we could hand this over to the kids who would especially need it. And then one of the unique things that the Children's Closet does is we have scrubs. So even if you're not a student in training, if you're a parent and you need scrubs, we have a selection there. And then the way we had set it up was we had a boys' room, we had a girls' infant room, and then the whole front of that portable was going to be girls and some boys. And we had a tiny bit of storage, and things were looking great. We were working with Janet from social services. And so when the roof got ripped open, it started raining in the closet. We immediately lost the boys' clothing. We lost the scrubs that are right there. We lost some brand new stuff, and of course the shoes. So it was kind of sort of depressing until a week later, and people were just donating, and then donating, and
now we have 3 storage units, a pod,
2 bedrooms in my house, my car,
my garage, my car.
It just
Chris Street, if you are listening, if you are out there, if any of you guys that are listening know who Chris Street is, send her a card that just tells her you love her. I don't know her address, or else I'd give it to everybody on here and ask you all to send out thank you cards. I don't think you can write to the let's try it. If you're listening, send a card, write Chris Street somewhere off of Salford, Northport, Florida, and see if it makes it to her. Because no joke, this woman has been amazing. She has called me up at 6:15 in the morning. My eye just twitched a little bit, but has called me up at 6:15 in the morning to show up to help her bring in items. She has showed up when All Else Fails is doing our drywall project.
She's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because you can message her on Facebook.
Yeah. So if you guys are on here, find her on Facebook. I think it's under Chris Street. Yeah, she's got Kiwanis on there. She's incredible. She is our secretary for Kiwanis. And talk about an exceptional human being. Somebody who goes out of her way every single day. To the point to where there are days where she calls me and I'm like, we had an agreement. Today is break day. Why are we meeting each other? And she's like, it's only going to take us an hour. 6 hours later, we're still together on our day off. So it's
because Chris is really connected also with Restore Global, and they wanted to donate. I think it's 2,500.
5,000. 5,000 tutus.
They're tutus, but this is what's incredible.
Dance uniforms. They're not just tutus. They're dance uniforms.
Yeah.
We're talking. Some of these uniforms are $900 for one of them. Wow. The cheapest one in there is probably $245 for this costume. So if you are running a dance
dance school and you have
Yeah.
been affected by the hurricane, please call Elaine Emmerich, 941-223-7120. Again, that's 941-223-7120. And I did not ask for permission to give out her phone number, but if you need tutus,
Yes.
please call us.
Yeah.
Let us get you those
You know what?
tutus.
And
We'll
what
give
would
you
be great for
100
somebody
of them.
Seriously, before
school or
Christmas,
something.
how cool would it be for
Yeah.
some little girls to get that for
Yeah.
Christmas?
And it's not like y'all are all sitting here thinking of just a tutu that goes around your
No,
waist.
it's the
I
whole-
think we have a dozen of those.
Yeah.
We're talking
Yeah.
full length dance outfits
Wow.
of
Yeah.
every style, design, color.
Yeah.
There's 500 green ones. So if you're into green, call us 223-7120. Call us.
Yeah.
We'll,
But,
we'll make sure kids get
Yeah.
them. And
Yeah.
I think that
That would be great for girls.
we're
to-
also, listen, we're going to bring some to the Homeless to Home Luncheon. We're going to give them to CARE, Spark.
Yeah.
You know, they have
Yeah.
these little homes
Yeah.
where the
Yeah.
kids can go. There's a dance studio in Sarasota that's helping children, special needs.
Yeah.
What is Kiwanis?
Kiwanis is a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world one child and one community at a time. So that's why the tutus are kind of fun, because it's
Right.
individual, the clothing. In Northport.
You know, Clara's Clubhouse too here.
Oh,
in
I love her.
Claire,
And-
yeah,
and I love
do
Mood
too.
Mountains.
I do too.
Yeah, that's-
And when you said the tutus, I was
Yeah.
thinking of the girls and
That's what we're, you know, you guys were talking about how when there's a tragedy or
Yeah.
a crisis, Northport comes together. Kiwanis has partnered up with, when all else fails, Pregnancy Solutions, Sarasota County School Board, One World Kitchen, San Pedro. The list goes on.
yeah.
We're with the other Kiwanis groups, and I do. This is my really big plug. I sat down one night and I wrote to like 11 different foundations, Kiwanis for the state of Florida. Here's my thought. The governor's wife, Casey, she was doing two things. Number one, she was raising money through Volunteer Florida.
Mhm.
And number two, she went to Tervis Tumbler and she didn't create it, but she backed a Tervis that is Hurricane Ian strong. And so as Kiwanis with boots on the ground, working with when all else fails, knowing that knowing exactly what the needs
Right.
are, you know, I just wanted some of that money because we knew, like Justin always says, the drywall, get one or two
to do
rooms in the house
Yeah.
to acceptable to where you're safe. And then, you know, it'll cost you less money.
Right.
And, you know, your mental health will go back to what it needs to be. And so, you know, while Kiwanis is Breakfast with Santa next Saturday morning and fishing tournament with kids the day before Father's Day, and then the bunny breakfast the weekend before Easter, Kiwanis really truly was a partner with many different organizations, even the Rotary. The Rotary is giving us shampoo out of Englewood that will help Hurricane Ian victims. And yesterday on the interstate, I was talking to a veterans group that needs shampoo. And so it's, again, that connectivity too, knowing, you know, they didn't say they needed, you know, other things. The shampoo is what they need right now. Let's get it to them before December 10th. You know, let's make it happen. So it's
Why did you join Kiwanis?
It's only funny because I always say there was like a imaginary gun to my head, but it's not the truth. What happened was I had just moved to Northport in 1989, and I went to Manatee Community College. I had just transferred from Florida Southern Christian in Lakeland, and I knew like two families in Northport. And so I went to the Northport Times and I said, give me a job. I didn't graduate from college yet, but I thought I should just walk into a newspaper.
Yeah, why not?
And they said, we'll give you an internship.
Yeah.
And so I did my internship with them. And here's the funny part. Like writers don't have to sell ads. You're in fact, you don't mix like that
Yeah.
because you don't ever want to be like encouraged by any local business to write about them. It just is all a natural, fluid thing. But because I was like an intern, my final exam was to sell a full page ad. And so I came up with it was Christmas. I came up with the concept to have a Christmas tree and all the ads would be in the balls. And so it was Wanda Corte with Bud Corte Construction. It was Lois Kozak. It was just, everybody on Trot Circle. So Lynn Van Fleet took an ad and they all supported me. There's a roofing company. There was a air conditioning company, just great human beings who let me sell my ad. $1,200, right?
Wow.
I got an A minus. Like,
wow.
I don't know what the heck a minus was about. But so when that ended, they said, okay, we're going to hire you at $80 a week and $5 a photo. And so even doing that math back in it would have been at that point probably 1990, I wasn't going to be able to afford to go to college and buy books. So Wanda said, well, listen, go, Bud is a early bird Kiwanian, go to his group and ask. So I get there and there's Al Hasham and Bud and just all the guys, you know. And I had a letter that said, I can't afford the $500 for books. And they were, and now mind you, so this would be January. You don't do scholarships till May or June. And they made a special exception for me, this 19-year-old kid. And so fast forward like a tiny bit, well, not much later, because Cheyenne was then born in 1992. And George Winchester, I only laugh because he used to work in this building. George Winchester was a Kiwanian with his wife Marlene. And every day George would come to my work and he'd say, so when are you joining Kiwanis? And I was like, the dues are like $90. I can't afford it.
Yeah.
And he was like, listen, you tell your bosses that you want them to sponsor you. This is worth it. And I said, you know what? I really, really want to say thank you for that $500 that they gave me because it allowed me to keep going through MCC. And I got a job there in the English lab and as a tutor. And I was on the school newspaper with Lorraine Schneeberger. And so it was the neatest way to be able to say thank you. So in 1992, I joined. And that consequently is the same year that Kiwanis did the children's closet. But so it's a way to say thank you.
Yeah.
It's a way to say thank you.
30
That was
years.
the longest story ever.
30 years the son has been taking care of that bill. So Kiwanis appreciates you to the son's favor. So thank you guys for giving us a lane. You know, it's I get to be a Kiwanian with you under your leadership, and I've gotten to volunteer with the Kiwanis for about 16 since I was 16, so it's a little bit more than 16 years. It's and this is probably the busiest we have been as an organization since the time that I have become involved. I've only been a Kiwanian the last few years, but I've been involved with Kiwanis because I was a Key Club kid, and Kiwanis is the sponsor. Now I'm the Key Club advisor
Look at
for
how
Kiwanis.
Northport is growing, how many people we have now.
Yeah, 87,000
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
It's crazy. But it's definitely the busiest we've been. Out of the last 3 years, because I'm only going to give you a little bit longer, out of the last 3 years, what is your favorite project we worked on?
Oh, my favorite is graduation. And I know it's out of it. The bottom line is this.
I'm gonna pull up
The bottom line is this: as Kiwanians, we don't take the word no very well, and it's also the same with when all else fails. But the bottom line is, there was no way you were going to tell Northport high school students
Right.
that they couldn't graduate. And it's so much deeper. I tell everybody this. One of the mothers, we had a planning meeting at the Old World, now Austin's, and the mother walked up to me and she just said to me, please promise me that you're serious about this. The school board has canceled on my daughter. This girl was an artist, and she was set to, I believe, she was the one who was supposed to sing. And she, when she was told it's canceled at the stadium at Cool Today Park, 8,000 is what it seats, and yet it was canceled there for social distancing. And she said, my daughter checked herself into a facility. She was suicidal.
Ooh.
So if you're not going to do this, please don't waste our time. And I looked that woman in the eye and I said, no, that's not how we roll. I said, get me your daughter.
Yeah.
And so the daughter came up and I said, all right, now you're in charge of singing. And she looked at me and she's like, what? I said, and I heard you're a pretty great artist.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that you're going to need to paint a mural for your class. And she said, could I get a couple of other people to sing? And she did. And then I had a Northport police officer's daughter. He had died in his sleep. And she too wanted to be a part of a ceremony. And so she was. We incorporated, the city of Northport made us socially distance husbands from wives. We had to have 3 different ceremonies.
Yeah.
And the very last ceremony, this was the coolest thing ever. And this is God working. This is not any of us, because none of us could have pulled this off. There was a really bad storm and we were delayed for a few minutes, and I checked my email. And one of my bosses wrote, hey, can you find so-and-so? We need a picture of him. He's got a 4.0 grade point average. So during the ceremony, I stand up and I say, where's so-and-so? And I look to my left, I look to my right, and the kid stands up and he's waving. And I said, this boy right here has worked all of his life, and he's got a 4.0 grade point average. He was autistic and hadn't spoken until he was 8 years old. And you were going to tell him he couldn't graduate?
Yeah.
And when he stood up, everybody clapped for him. It was just heaven.
Yeah.
You know, and afterwards, the parents came up to both of us and they're like, it's all we wanted for our son. It was the only way we could make him feel special in front of his friends and their families. And it worked. It happened. And so
that's one of the most wonderful stories. That's what it's all about.
So I wanna jump in on part of this story because it was June. Graduation was canceled.
Right,
I want you all to hear me. Graduation was canceled. And we're at my daughter's birthday party at my sister's house.
Quentin's birthday party.
Was it? Yeah, it was Q's. Sorry. No, it was Kayla's. It was Kayla's.
Oh.
Yeah, Michaela's birthday. So we're there. We're celebrating Michaela's birthday. And as Elaine's leaving, she looks at me and she says, so we're hosting graduation. And I said, Elaine, graduation's been canceled. And she chuckled, as Elaine does. That right there. That's exactly what she did. And she said, no, I don't think you understand. We're hosting graduation. And I said, no, I don't think you understand. But they've canceled graduation. And she said, okay, so you've said it 3 times now. And I need for you to understand that we're going to host graduation. And I said, you know what? F it. We're hosting graduation. Not a problem.
It's always, remember when you said you and I don't always agree?
Yeah, this is one of those times. So she looks at me and she said, we're going to talk about this. And I said, that's fine. I'm leaving here in about 35 minutes. You can call me. She waited 29 minutes and called my phone and said, so we should start planning because we have 14 days. Wait,
July 17th.
Wait, you said we have 14 days to host graduation for 400 kids. We have no idea how to get a hold of them.
College.
And okay, fine, not a problem.
Yeah.
So we start working on it. And I have to tell you, when we planned it, do you remember when your grandkids graduated kindergarten?
Oh, yeah.
And you got to see that little itty bitty stage,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're all proud, and you go, yay.
Yeah,
So that was the
yeah,
plan.
yeah.
That's what we were creating. Like, I don't want y'all to be thinking that we were sophisticated with our plan,
Yeah.
because it wasn't. We were getting a kindergarten style stage. We were
Yeah.
going to walk these kids up here. We were going to say, yay, high five them, and keep them walking. Like, that was the vision on that day.
That's a plan.
$30,000 later, we hosted one of the most amazing graduations that I've gotten to attend. And I'm going to tell you 2 secrets into this. Number one, we talked earlier about me being the greatest loser with the school board race. And I'm very thankful for that. But the biggest thing that I was disappointed in is when I lost, I knew I wasn't going to get to go to graduation the next year. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah,
It's the one thing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I missed my graduation.
Yeah.
I had a kid at the end of high school, and I didn't go to graduation. There's a point to this story. As we were planning and we're going through this, and now all of a sudden I'm on the phone, not Elaine, because she's now giving them all my phone number, my Facebook page, my contact information. Apparently, my job didn't matter because she had to work. So for 14 days, I became
11 days graduation.
a full-time graduation planner. So I get to go to graduation, not as a school board member, but I got to be the other half of what hosted graduation.
Yeah.
And I remember standing there that day, and now you have to understand, I was suffering from massive heat stroke. Like, it's true.
I forgot my name.
I drove home and laid in the shower because I was barfing everywhere. My son is at sailing camp, trying to get to him in the middle of the graduations, getting back, throwing up the entire way there, sick as a dog, get into the shower, cool my body down, change my clothes, go back, and I had put on shorts. This one walks over to me, Elaine is who I'm pointing out for those of y'all that can't see me, walks over to me and says, you can't wear shorts for graduation. You have to go on stage. So I had to put jeans back on as I'm dying in the heat. This one gets up and announces that she may be a newspaper reporter, but she has no idea where she works for because the heat stroke is setting in at a level that we could not deal with. But one of the coolest things is there was a student. And Riley, if you're listening, I'm sorry, I'm going to call out your name. It was a public graduation. There was a student named Riley Coffey, and she called me up and she said, Justin, I wasn't going to graduation because they told me my daughter can't walk with me. Now I'm going to get teary-eyed, and I apologize because this is the moment whenever I win. Damn it, Elaine. I'm sorry. We probably just got fined. We just got fined. I'm sorry. Darn it, Elaine.
No, we did. That is one of the bad words.
I'm sorry. So I said, darn it, Elaine, this is why we did this. And I know there were 300 of you kids that walked through there, and every one of you guys mattered. And every one of you guys was important. But there was a 3-year-old baby who walked across that stage with her mom.
Yeah.
And her mom walked in graduation and got to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Because this woman at my daughter's birthday party announced that we were going to host graduation. So I have the picture up. This is them sitting in the pouring rain at graduation. They were in the final one, and it is pouring out. And her daughter got to sit there, and her daughter, who made it through her mom's entire high school career, got to be a part of her graduation. And we got to do that for no other reason than somebody decided that they would believe in what we were doing.
Yeah.
And for every one of those people that gave, whether it was $1, $3,000, $5,000, you guys made the difference and showed these kids that they mattered, that they were important enough in a period of time when everything became abnormal, when there was no sense of anything anymore.
Nobody knew what they were doing.
We lost track of who our neighbors were. We lost track of who our friends were. We lost track of what our job was. We lost track of what was important to us. The only thing that was important to this girl was walking with her daughter. And we got to do that. We got to be a part of that.
I got a Facebook message that said, hey, do you have any more shirts left? And I said, yeah, sure. Why? And she said, well, my friend's daughter is in a wheelchair. We didn't think she could come So I just would like to give her a shirt. So him and I, we go to this girl's house. This is crazy. So they say, oh, you don't remember us. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, I hate when I don't remember.
Yeah, yeah.
She goes, she was in your Little Miss Northport pageant.
Oh, wow.
When you guys did it for Kiwanis at the Mullen Center, like in 19 whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, ah, you're all grown up now. But we got to give her.
We did a
found her
graduation
diploma
in her
at
living room.
Northport High School
Yeah.
and gave it to her. And
I played the
was-
graduation song on my
It
phone
was
for her.
fantastic.
It's
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was- so you know what? That's what Kiwanis is too.
and WKDW was a part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's one of the issues that we had is, first of all, we fought the system
Oh, big
to
time.
make this happen,
Yeah,
and
I knew it was big
it's
time.
we pissed off so many people.
We did.
It's and just so you guys know, Ellen Domke, one of our other board members, is sitting here. But I remember when she looked at us and said, "What the hell are you? What are you guys doing? Like, what are you guys doing? It's COVID." Ford showed up. Ford showed up to give us what we needed to make sure every chair was sanitized before the next family member sat down.
Yeah.
American Irrigation showed up with money and helped pay for the stage. Dina Steinquest helped pay for cops, and it cost us almost $1,700 just for the location alone. The work that went into something. It's
something that they
Greg's-
plan all year
Yeah.
long.
yeah, and for those of you guys that cared about the story of whether or not I got to make it to graduation, I got to be the one that told the kids that they graduated and they get to flip their cap. Talk about the
See, that
coolest
would
thing,
be
because the
fun,
superintendent
yeah.
is the one who does that,
Yeah.
not a school board
Yeah,
member.
right, right.
And what's even cooler is we had congressmen there,
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
state senators,
We
had
had
state reps.
Bill Truex
Yeah.
from the next county over.
Come on, let me tell this. Let me tell this story. So I know we're here for Giving Tuesday, but that's what we do is we give 365 days. But Bill called, Commissioner Truex called, and he said, "I heard what you guys are doing," and we said, "With what?" And he said, "With graduation, we're going to need help at Lemon Bay. I want to connect you in with the parents, but more importantly, I want to be a part of what you're doing."
Wow.
Wait, you said what? He said, "I want you to make me space.
Yeah.
I want on that stage with
Yeah,
your kids."
yeah.
He's like, "I don't have any kids that are attached to your school." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, neither do I." Like,
Yeah.
it's, neither do I. Neither does she. So we get it. But
Yeah.
Bill Truex showed up and
Wow.
gave one of the commencement speeches. And I have to tell you, next to Greg Stubbe's, it was probably the most powerful speech that was given that day, because it wasn't politically focused.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
focused on why he loved our kids in
Yeah.
Northport,
Yeah.
even though he was a commissioner in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Why they were important enough for these people
Yeah.
to fight
do
the
that.
system,
Yeah.
to be there for them.
Yeah.
And the entire theme of the graduation was "You Matter."
Right.
That was
Right.
Elaine's big thing from day one,
Yeah.
is we are doing this so that these
But-
kids
yeah.
know that they matter. In a year where they've lost everything, you don't get to lose the one thing you spend a 15 years, because you got 3
Yeah.
in VBK and daycare,
Yeah.
but you have a 15-year career, all for one thing: to be able to graduate.
Yeah.
You don't get anything else. Okay, you get an
Yeah.
education. But realistically, you don't get anything else, and you're even having to pay for the freaking lunch every day. So it's the one thing was being able to watch them walk and to give them
To
their
do that,
day.
right.
It's still to this day, we have people, I know I do, that
Yeah,
walk up
yeah,
and they're like,
yeah.
"You gave my kid a graduation.
Yeah,
Thank you so
yeah.
much." And I'm like, "Dude, this was 3 years ago."
Yeah,
And they're like,
yeah.
"You don't understand.
Yeah.
Our family was so impacted because you guys
Exactly.
believed in our community enough to do this."
Yeah.
And it's talking about, again, we talked earlier about
Yeah.
disagreements. It was one of those contention points, even
Yeah.
within both boards, of why are we doing this?
Well, you know,
This is so out of our scope.
I would say this reached a lot of the United States.
Yeah.
Because I have a grandson that graduated that same year in Cornelius, North Carolina. Of course, they canceled graduation. So Grandma's telling him all about what you guys are doing and all this stuff. And he was so upset. He went back to school, went to the principal. Nothing changed. They didn't get it. But he kept saying, "Well, could I just move to Northport and all that?" And then I also have grandkids in Michigan, the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, nobody had it, and everybody was talking about, look at what Northport did.
We had schools that reached out to us.
Yeah.
I sat down with the college.
Yeah.
There is a college who held graduation and used our plan from beginning to end,
Yeah.
through and through. Even my little soundtrack of music for it. So
Yeah,
it was so crazy to watch it be grabbed by other people, to watch Imagine
Yeah,
Schools,
right.
do it to Lemon Bay, who
Yeah,
said, screw
yeah.
this, if Northport's doing it, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Venice.
Yeah.
And then you had prom, you
Yes,
know, and
that's
that
what I was
was
gonna say.
Yeah.
prom was again, I know it's so funny because these are highlights of my life and it wasn't my prom, but
It was a
to
great
watch
prom.
these kids, we had 400 children
Yeah.
inside of a venue.
Well,
Not
young
one
adults.
got COVID. Not one got
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
We pushed the envelope on what the maximum was on that day.
Yeah.
And we did it in the safest way we could, but talk about a difference that it made. And by the way, for those of you guys that are like, oh, all those kids just got drunk, we only found one alcohol
No,
bottle.
it was
The
this
entire
big.
thing. One.
Yeah,
This big.
yeah.
That was it. But we dressed them. We got them dressed. There was a young man, and again, my eyes are going to leak. I apologize. Obviously, these kids make me a little bit emotional, but there was a kid who walked in and we only had a handful of suits. And there was a lady who came in and the little guy, if you're listening to the story, I didn't tell you this part because I thought it would be weird, but she came in and she hands me this. I actually think it was one of Ellen's friends who brought me, and she said, my husband has passed away. And I'm asking for a favor. And I said, well, what's your favor? And she said, I want my husband to dance one more time. And I said,
Oh, wow.
what? And she said, I want you to give away this tuxedo. And I want somebody to wear it. And when they wear it, my husband gets to dance one
It
last
was
time.
amazing.
And it took my breath away. Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, I didn't
Yeah.
think of it in that way. Like, we're not just affecting these kids,
Right.
but this person whose husband has passed away
Yeah.
has found one more way to be able to say he still exists.
Yeah.
And this young man came in, and I was like, all right, we're going to dress you. And he's like, no. And I said, no, I want to dress you.
Yeah.
Like, he was a mess. He had no
Yeah.
idea what he was going to
Yeah.
wear.
Yeah.
He had found this button up shirt, and he's like, oh, I'm going to look so great in this. And I put this suit on him. And I'm buttoning him up, and I'm sitting there picturing what it's going to be like with my son whenever he goes to prom in a few years. And so I'm having this whole moment, and I look at this kid and I'm like, holy crap, dude, you look freaking gorgeous. Like, what just happened? The suit fit him as if it was custom made for him.
Yeah.
This kid will wear this suit for the next 5 to 10 years. So where this woman just wanted her husband to dance one more time, not only is he going to get to dance one more time, but he's going to be with this kid for the rest of his young life as he makes this transition. And when we watched him walk into prom with his girlfriend, and they both stopped to hug us, and they were like, thank you for doing this, and thank you for dressing me. It was funny because that day he called me and he's like, can you tie my tie? And I was like, come tonight, meet me at prom, and I'll tie your tie for you. Not a problem. But it was the most amazing things, and these kids respected what we did, and that was the difference.
Exactly.
It wasn't school's prom where you go to create mischief. I mean, let's be honest. If you showed up to prom, you went for one of three things. One thing we won't talk about. One, because it's the last time that you're going to be in a group with your friends. Or number three, to create mischief. These kids didn't. They showed up. They had a great time. They danced from the time they got there till the time they left. We were so freaking tired by the end of the night that I'm like, dear Jesus, you guys go home. Like, we've been done for an hour. Like, you're costing me additional money. Go home. But it was one of the most amazing experiences. So that's
Is RJ in the room?
Yeah, RJ's in here.
Okay, the reason he's in there is we have to switch feeds.
Okay. So before we switch feeds, we have a few minutes left in this feed, right? Can I do this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Elaine, only because I know that you had to be out of here sometime around 3. You can stay and mingle, hang out, because we're going to do When All Else Fails next. So you're welcome to be a part of that. But again, tell us why Kiwanis matters. Tell us why people should donate to you, and tell us how to send donations or to get donations to you.
Kiwanis matters because we are helping children and families and veterans and other in Northport who need help, not just once a month. That they know that we're there for them when they need us. We meet on Wednesdays at Austin's Old World. We are looking for new members. You don't have to go to the meetings, but it'd be awesome to see you helping out on weekends. And donations, we're not great about connecting properly, but Kiwanis does have a Facebook page, and people message me all the time. So we have a PO box. We still take checks, which is fun. And seriously, we use the money to buy brand new socks and underwear. We use the money on different projects based upon the need. So, and we really would love to do more scholarships. We want to help with the nursing program. We know there's a shortage of nurses, and that's not cool. So $100 times 10 gives us a scholarship.
So if you are listening and you would like to support Kiwanis and what they are doing here in your community, she said she takes checks. We meet at Austin Steakhouse, which used to be Old World. It's now called Austin's, if you guys didn't know that. They are located on 41 right off of the access road on Zagrabelny Way, just off of Northport Boulevard. If you would like to make a donation, Mike, I'm sorry I'm putting you out there for this, but if you'd like to make a donation, please write your check out to Kiwanis Club of Northport. You can drop it off at Austin's Steakhouse. Tell them that it's for Kiwanis. While you're in there, check out their French onion soup. Freaking amazing. Get some. Get it. Oh, nothing better. They also have chip beef on the weekends now. Just so you know, it's made homemade in-house. It is incredibly done. Mike's wife, I'm sorry, Morgan's mom. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. So it's Mike's wife, Morgan's mom. She makes the chip beef herself. Phenomenal. Stop in and check it out. It's also definitely a different place. So if you haven't been to the restaurant in a while, it is not what you think of whenever you think of Old World. It is truly Austin Steakhouse now.
And
so check it into
there's a giving tree at Austin's and Alvaro's and Culver's. It's a tree, and there's children's that are needy. They've asked for different items, and you go, you buy the items, you bring them back, and these are our partners who will give us the items, and we'll bag them up, and we will give them to the parents. And that may be the only gifts that the child gets for Christmas, but we're thinking 300 plus children this year.
Yeah, the need is big. Yeah. So you guys have been listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWradio.com. I am Justin Willis. This is Pat Petersmark, Elaine Allen Emmerich, and we've got Marie LaBrosse on the back end helping us keep this strong. We've got to make some changes real fast, so bear with us over the next
right. And we'll be live back on air and back on social media. So just look for the new feed coming up. We only can do 4 hours live on Facebook at a time. That's why we're doing the switch over.
Perfect. And when you come back on with us, we will have Ellen Domke here from Homeless to Home and When All Else Fails. So you definitely want to be back on with us whenever we come back up.
It will be within a few minutes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. And remember, this is Giving Tuesday. Does not matter what you give. Just make sure you're paying something forward. And if you do nothing else, just be kind. Just be kind and respectful. Thank you so much. We'll see you on another feed.
All right, Pat, don't leave me.
All right, Ellen, you can sit here, and I can move over here, and you can sit right there. No, I'm not leaving you. I'll just move to the corner. So
everyone was say hi, darling. That was very good. It was a great article. Oh, good. It was a great article.
Well, welcome.
I know why.
Yes.
Although I just don't get to talk.
Trying to make room so you can get in there.
That's okay. I can do it. I'm skinny. I can squeeze. Trying to stick my butt in your face.
All right, Marie, I'm going to put the next feed up.
How are you, darling?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good, thanks.
Just moving along, like everybody else, getting done what we can get done.
One foot in front of the other.
When we can get it done.